There is a stage in spiritual elevation that almost nobody warns you about. A stage where the messages stop, the friendships become cold, the people who promise to stay suddenly disappear. You look around and ask, Ya Allah, why is everyone leaving me at the same time? But what if their departure is not proof that Allah has abandoned you? What if it is proof that He is preparing you? Because before Allah raises a soul, He may remove every voice it depends upon, every hand it holds too tightly, and every relationship it has secretly placed above Him. The stage must become empty, the audience must leave, the noise must die, because the person Allah is preparing you to become cannot be born while you are still performing for everyone else. You may call this loneliness, but perhaps it is an invitation to stop searching for your worth in human eyes, an invitation to discover who you are when nobody chooses you, an invitation to remove every creation from the throne of your heart. So do not run after everyone who is leaving. Do not force every closing door to remain open. Their absence may be creating the space for your greatest transformation. These 7 lessons will reveal why Allah may separate you before He elevates you, and why the loneliest stage of your life may become the most sacred one. Lesson 1. Allah will empty your world first. Sometimes, before Allah raises your soul, He makes your world feel empty. The people who once called you stop calling. The doors you expected to open remain closed. The place where you once felt loved begins to feel cold. You look around and ask, Ya Allah, why is everyone leaving me? But this emptiness may not be punishment. It may be preparation. Allah knows how easily the human heart becomes attached. We begin by loving people, but slowly we start depending on them. We depend on their attention to feel important. We depend on their praise to feel worthy. We depend on their presence to feel safe. Then, without noticing, the heart becomes crowded. There is little space left for trust in Allah. So Allah may begin to remove what your heart is holding too tightly, not because every person is bad, not because love is wrong, but because no creation was meant to take the place of the Creator. The person you thought would always stay may walk away. The friend who understood you may become distant. The support you depended on may suddenly disappear. This will hurt. Your nafs will panic and say, you are alone. You have been forgotten. Your life is falling apart. But your soul may be hearing a different message. Come back to Allah. There are lessons you cannot learn in a crowded room. There are prayers you will never make while everyone is comforting you. There are secrets of your own heart you will never discover until the noise around you becomes silent. When people leave, you finally see what you were asking from them. Were you asking them to give you worth? Were you asking them to remove your loneliness? Were you asking them to make you feel complete? No human being can carry that weight forever. People become tired. People change. People misunderstand. People have their own wounds and weaknesses, but Allah does not become tired of you. He knows the pain you cannot explain. He hears the dua you cannot finish. He sees the tears you hide before anyone enters the room. The empty stage is where the servant begins to know the one who never leaves. At first, loneliness feels like a dark room, but when you remain patient, that room can become a place of worship. Your tears become softer. Your dua becomes more honest. Your sujood becomes longer. You stop speaking to impress people, and you begin speaking to Allah from the deepest part of your heart. This is where transformation begins. You discover that peace was never hidden inside another person. It was hidden inside surrender. You discover that your value did not disappear when someone stopped choosing you. You discover that rejection cannot destroy the soul that knows it belongs to Allah. Do not run after everyone who leaves. Do not force every closed door to open. Do not humiliate yourself trying to keep people whom Allah is allowing to walk away. Instead ask, Ya Allah, what are you teaching me through this emptiness? Perhaps Allah is cleaning your heart before filling it with light. Perhaps He is removing weak support before giving you stronger faith. Perhaps He is separating you from familiar people because your next spiritual station requires a heart that depends less on creation. The empty season will not last forever, but do not waste it. Pray when you feel forgotten. Remember Allah when the silence becomes heavy. Read the Quran when your thoughts become dark. Sit alone and speak honestly to your Lord. Allah may empty your world first, but He does not leave it empty without purpose. He empties the hands so they can rise in dua. He empties the heart so it can receive His light. And He empties your world so you finally understand, when Allah is with you, you were never truly alone. Lesson 2. The ones you cannot lose will leave. There are people you hold so tightly that even the thought of losing them frightens you. You say, I can survive anything, but not their absence. You build your peace around their presence. Their messages control your mood. Their attention makes you feel valuable. Their distance makes you feel empty. Slowly, without realizing it, your heart begins to depend on them more than it depends on Allah. That is when separation may begin. The person you believed could never leave becomes distant. The bond you thought was permanent starts breaking. You try harder, explain more, forgive again, and hold on with all your strength. But nothing works. Why? Because sometimes Allah allows the person you cannot imagine losing to leave, so you can discover that your survival was never in their hands. This does not mean every separation is easy, or that every person who leaves is evil. Some people are good, but their place in your heart has become too large. You have given them a position that no human being can safely carry. You expected them to heal every wound. You expected them to understand every silence. You expected them to remain the same forever. But people change, hearts change, situations change. Only Allah remains unchanged in His knowledge, mercy and care. When the person leaves, your nafs screams, your life is over. But your soul is being taught. You had a life before them, and by Allah's permission, you will have a life after them. At first, you may feel as if part of you has been taken away. You may replay old memories. You may keep checking your phone. You may ask what you did wrong. But do not let one person's departure make you question your entire worth. A human being leaving you does not mean Allah has rejected you. Sometimes the departure is the protection. Sometimes Allah knows what that attachment would do to your faith, peace, future, or character. You only see the person you are losing. Allah sees the pain you may be escaping. You see the closed door. Allah sees what was waiting behind it. The Sufi path teaches the heart not to become a prisoner of what it loves. You may love people deeply, but your deepest dependence must remain with Allah. Love people with open hands. Do not place your entire identity inside them. Do not say, without this person I am nothing. You are a servant of Allah before you are anyone's friend, partner, child, student or companion. Your value comes from the one who created you, not from someone's decision to stay. When they leave, do not destroy yourself trying to force them back. Do not beg for the attention that Allah is teaching you to live without. Do not keep knocking on a door that is closing your heart to your Lord. Instead, return to Allah. Say, Ya Allah, I loved this person, but I love you more. If their presence is good for my soul, bring them close in a beautiful way. If their presence will harm me, remove the attachment from my heart and give me peace. This dua is not weakness. It is surrender. It means you are no longer asking Allah to give you only what you desire. You are asking Him to choose what is best. That is a higher station of trust. One day, you may look back and understand why the separation happened. You may realize that losing them pushed you toward prayer. It taught you boundaries. It exposed wounds you had ignored. It showed you how much of yourself you had abandoned to keep someone else. The person you thought you could not lose may leave. You will cry. You will feel empty. But you will not disappear. Allah will teach you how to stand again. He will return dignity to your heart. He will show you that what feels like the end of your life may only be the end of an unhealthy dependence. The lesson is not that everyone will leave. The lesson is that even if they do, Allah will remain. And the heart that truly finds Allah discovers something powerful. It can love deeply without making anyone its God. Lesson 3. You will be misunderstood on purpose. There comes a stage in your journey when people will no longer understand you. They may misunderstand your silence. They may question your decisions. They may call you weak because you refuse to argue. They may call you proud because you have created boundaries. They may think you are lost because you no longer follow the crowd. You will try to explain yourself, but your words will not reach them. This can feel deeply painful. Most people want to be seen correctly. We want others to know that our hearts are sincere. We want them to understand why we changed, why we walked away, or why we chose a different path. But sometimes Allah allows people to misunderstand you for a reason. He is teaching you to stop living inside their opinions. For a long time, you may have changed yourself to remain accepted. You stayed silent when you needed to speak. You said yes when your heart wanted to say no. You remained in harmful places because you feared being called selfish, difficult, or ungrateful. You were not living freely. You were living to protect an image. Then Allah begins to elevate your soul. You become more careful about what enters your heart. You stop joining useless conversations. You no longer laugh at what damages your faith. You begin protecting your prayers, your time, and your inner peace. Some people will not celebrate this change. Your growth may make them uncomfortable. The old version of you was easier to control. That version always explained, apologized, and returned. But the new version is learning to obey Allah even when people become disappointed. This is why misunderstanding can become a spiritual test. Will you abandon what Allah is teaching you just to be accepted again? Will you lower your standards so people will stop talking? Will you return to a harmful place because loneliness feels difficult? The nafs wants everyone to approve of you. It wants praise, attention, and recognition. It wants people to say, "You are right, you are good, we understand you." But the soul reaches peace when it can say, "Allah knows my intention, and that is enough." This does not mean you should never explain yourself. Speak clearly when an explanation can bring peace, correct a mistake, or protect someone from harm. But do not spend your entire life proving your heart to people who have already chosen the wrong story about you. Some people do not want the truth. They want a version of the truth that protects their opinion. No matter how beautifully you explain yourself, they may still misunderstand you. At that moment, silence can become an act of trust. Leave your name with Allah. Leave your intentions with Allah. Leave the truth with the one who sees what every heart hides. Remember that being misunderstood does not make you wrong. Even sincere people can be judged unfairly. Every person sees through the condition of their own heart. Someone carrying suspicion may find hidden motives in your kindness. Someone who fears change may call your growth betrayal. Do not hate them. Do not let their misunderstanding fill your heart with pride or anger. Pray for them, protect your boundaries, and continue walking. The Sufi path is not about winning every argument. It is about cleaning the heart until the praise and blame of people no longer control it. Ask yourself, would I still do this if nobody praised me? Would I remain patient if nobody understood me? Would I obey Allah even if people walked away? These questions expose the truth of your intention. One day, the people who misunderstood you may finally understand, or perhaps they never will. Your peace cannot depend on that day. Allah may let your reputation fall in the eyes of some people, so your dependence on their approval can also fall. He may let them create a false image of you, so you finally stop worshipping the image you created for them. You were not born to spend your life managing everyone's opinion. You were created to know Allah, obey Him, and return to Him with a sincere heart. Let people misunderstand your silence. Let them question your distance. Let them speak about a journey they have never walked. Allah knows every battle you fought quietly. He knows why you changed. He knows what you survived. He knows the truth behind every decision. When you truly believe that, you stop begging the world to understand you. You become calm. You become free. And you learn one of the deepest lessons of the spiritual path. Being known by Allah is greater than being understood by everyone. Lesson 4. Loneliness will burn the weakness out of you. There is a kind of loneliness that feels like punishment. Your phone becomes quiet. The people you trusted become distant. The room feels heavier at night. You sit with your thoughts and ask, Ya Allah, why have you left me with no one? But Allah has not left you. He may be separating you from noise, so you can finally meet the person hiding beneath it. There are weaknesses inside us that remain hidden when life is comfortable. When people are always around, you may not notice how much you depend on their attention. When someone is always encouraging you, you may not know whether your strength is truly yours. When others constantly comfort you, you may never learn how to carry your pain with faith. Then Allah allows loneliness to enter, not always because you did something wrong. Sometimes it enters because your soul is ready for deeper training. Loneliness reveals where your heart is weak. It shows you how quickly you become afraid when nobody replies. It exposes how much your mood depends on someone's behavior. It reveals how often you run toward people before turning toward Allah. This discovery may hurt, but it is mercy. You cannot heal a weakness you refuse to see. Perhaps you thought you were patient, but loneliness revealed your restlessness. Perhaps you thought you trusted Allah, but one person's departure destroyed your peace. Perhaps you thought you knew your worth, but rejection made you feel like nothing. Allah is not exposing these weaknesses to humiliate you. He is exposing them so they can be removed. Gold is placed inside fire, so what is false can separate from what is pure. In the same way, the loneliness of the spiritual path can become a fire. It burns the need to be constantly noticed. It burns the fear of being forgotten. It burns the habit of begging people to stay. It burns the false belief that you cannot survive without someone. At first, this fire feels painful. You may try to escape it by returning to people who already harmed you. You may enter useless conversations just to avoid silence. You may accept disrespect because even bad company seems easier than being alone. But every time you run from the lesson, the same pain returns in another form. Allah is teaching you not to fear your own company. He is teaching you that silence does not have to destroy you. Silence can become a doorway. When the world becomes quiet, you begin hearing what your heart has been hiding. You notice wounds you covered with entertainment. You notice fears you buried under busy routines. You notice how tired your soul has become from trying to please everyone. This is why many people fear being alone. It is not only the absence of people they fear, it is the truth that rises when the distractions disappear. But do not run from that truth. Sit with it before Allah. Say, Ya Allah, show me what this loneliness is trying to teach me. Perhaps it is teaching you that you abandoned yourself while trying to keep others. Perhaps you ignored your prayers to protect a relationship. Perhaps you stayed silent when your dignity was being damaged. Perhaps you made one person the center of your emotional world. The lonely season gives you a chance to rebuild your inner life. You begin slowly. You wake up and pray, even when nobody knows. You read a few verses of the Quran, even when your heart feels heavy. You make dhikr while walking, cooking, or sitting alone. You stop waiting for someone to rescue your day. You learn to create peace through your connection with Allah. This does not happen in one night. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will miss the people who left. You may cry again. You may feel that all your healing has disappeared. Do not judge yourself too quickly. Healing does not move in a straight line. A wound can become painful again without becoming new. The heart remembers. Let it remember but do not let memory become your master. When old pain returns, do not immediately run back to the old door. Return to Allah instead. Say, Ya Allah, my heart is weak today. Hold it for me. That simple dua can be more powerful than pretending you are fine. True spiritual strength does not mean you never feel lonely. It means loneliness no longer makes you betray yourself. It means you do not return to what Allah removed just because the silence became uncomfortable. It means you can miss someone without chasing them. You can love someone without losing your dignity. You can feel pain without losing your faith. This is how weakness begins to burn away. Before, you needed people to constantly tell you that you mattered. Now you remember that Allah created you with purpose. Before, one unanswered message could ruin your entire day. Now you breathe, pray, and continue living. Before you feared eating alone, walking alone, or beginning again alone. Now you understand that being physically alone does not mean being spiritually abandoned. Allah is near. He sees you when no one checks on you. He hears the thoughts you cannot explain. He knows how hard it is to continue when nobody understands the battle inside you. The world may not notice your private struggle, but nothing is hidden from Him. This knowledge changes the meaning of loneliness. You stop seeing an empty room. You begin seeing a private meeting place with Allah. Your tears become conversation. Your silence becomes remembrance. Your waiting becomes worship. Your loneliness becomes a classroom where the soul learns what crowds could never teach it. The Sufi path calls the servant inward, not to escape people forever, but to clean the heart before returning to them. A person who has never sat alone may enter relationships with hunger. They demand constant attention, constant proof, and constant reassurance. But a person who has learned to sit with Allah enters relationships with balance. They can love without controlling. They can care without begging. They can give without destroying themselves. They are no longer searching for a human being to complete what only Allah can complete. This is one of the greatest gifts hidden inside loneliness. It teaches you the difference between love and dependence. Love says, I am grateful for your presence. Dependence says, without your presence, I am nothing. Love allows people to be human. Dependence demands that they become perfect. Love brings warmth. Dependence brings fear. When Allah burns dependence out of your heart, He does not make you cold. He teaches you to love more purely. You no longer love people because you need them to prove your worth. You love them for the sake of goodness, mercy, and gratitude. And when they leave, you grieve, but you do not lose yourself. Loneliness also teaches discipline. When nobody is watching, what do? Do you still pray? Do you still keep your promises? Do you still protect your character? Do you still work toward your purpose? Many people perform well when others are watching, but the lonely season removes the audience. Now your sincerity is tested. Will you continue becoming better when nobody applauds? Will you remain honest when nobody can expose you? Will you worship Allah when no one calls you religious? This is where the real self is built. The hidden life is the root of the visible life. A tree does not stand because of the branches everyone sees. It stands because of the roots buried in darkness. In the same way, your public strength will come from the private nights when only Allah saw you fighting not to give up. One day, people may admire your calmness. They will not know how many lonely nights created it. They may praise your confidence. They will not know how many times rejection forced you to find your worth in Allah. They may wonder why you are no longer easily controlled. They will not know that solitude taught you how to survive without applause. This is why you should not curse every lonely season. Some seasons are not empty. They are sacred. Allah may be removing weak supports because He is building stronger foundations. He may be reducing your circle because He is increasing your awareness. He may be allowing silence outside you because there is something inside you that needs to awaken. But be careful. Spiritual loneliness should not become pride. Do not begin thinking, I need nobody, everyone is false, I am better alone. That is not freedom, that is another trap of the nafs. Islam does not teach you to hate people or reject good companionship. We need family, friendship, community, and sincere support. The lesson is not to close your heart. The lesson is to stop making people your foundation. Allah is the foundation. People are gifts. Be grateful when they stay, but do not worship their presence. Be patient when they leave, but do not make their departure your identity. During this season, protect yourself with simple actions. Keep your prayers steady, even when your emotions are unstable. Spend a little time each day without your phone. Write down what your loneliness is revealing. Speak to Allah honestly instead of using perfect words. Serve someone who is also struggling. Move your body, care for your health, and keep your surroundings clean. Do not let spiritual reflection become neglect of your daily life. Allah may be rebuilding your soul, but you must still take the steps placed before you. And when the pain becomes heavy, remember this: you are not being trained to live without love. You are being trained to live without chains. You are not becoming emotionless. You are becoming rooted. You are not being taught that people do not matter. You are being taught that Allah matters most. Eventually, the lonely season will change you. The silence that once frightened you will begin to calm you. The absence that once destroyed you will no longer control you. You will stop chasing every person who becomes distant. You will stop explaining yourself to everyone. You will stop treating rejection as proof that you are worthless. The fire will have done its work. It will burn away desperation. It will burn away false dependence. It will burn away the version of you that needed constant approval to feel alive. And from that fire, a quieter person will emerge, a person who can stand without becoming proud, a person who can love without becoming a prisoner, a person who can lose something without losing Allah. So when loneliness surrounds you, do not only ask, when will this end? Also ask, what weakness is Allah helping me release? What truth is He teaching my heart? What kind of person is being created inside this silence? Perhaps this stage is not the grave of your happiness. Perhaps it is the birthplace of your strength. Loneliness may burn you for a while, but if you remain close to Allah, it will not turn you into ashes. It will turn you into someone the same pain can never control again. Lesson 5. Allah will silence every voice but His. There comes a stage in the spiritual journey when Allah makes the world around you unusually quiet. The people who once guided you may no longer have answers. The person whose words always comforted you may become distant. The advice you once trusted may begin to confuse you. Even your own thoughts may become tired. You ask one person, then another. You watch more videos. You read more words, you search for signs everywhere, but nothing gives your heart peace. Every voice becomes weak. Every answer feels incomplete. Every path seems covered in fog. And you begin to wonder, Ya Allah, why can no one help me? Perhaps because Allah is teaching you that no voice should become louder in your heart than His guidance. For a long time, you may have lived by the voices around you. Your family told you who you should become. Society told you what success should look like. Friends told you what you deserved. People on the internet told you how quickly your life should change. Your fears told you what could go wrong. Your past told you that you would fail again. Your nafs told you to choose whatever felt easy. So many voices entered your heart that you could no longer tell which one was true. You were surrounded by words, yet you had no direction. Then Allah began to silence them. Not always by making people physically disappear. Sometimes they remain near you, but their words no longer control you. Their praise no longer gives you the same excitement. Their criticism no longer breaks you in the same way. Their advice may still matter, but it is no longer your God. You begin to understand that people can guide you only so far. They can share wisdom. They can warn you. They can support you. They can remind you of Allah. But they cannot see the complete path written for your soul. Only Allah knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. People see your present pain. Allah sees what that pain is preparing you for. People see the door that closed. Allah sees the danger behind it. People see your delay. Allah sees the character being formed inside it. People may tell you to move quickly. Allah may be teaching you to wait. People may tell you to hold on. Allah may be teaching you to release. People may call something a loss. Allah may know it is rescue. This is why the servant must learn to listen beyond the noise. The voice of guidance is not always loud. It does not always come as a dramatic sign. Often, it comes through the Quran touching the exact wound you were hiding. It comes through a prayer that slowly changes your desire. It comes through a closed door that refuses to open even after you have tried honestly. It comes through the deep discomfort you feel when you move towards something harmful. It comes through peace entering the heart after you finally surrender. But to notice these things, the heart must become quieter. A crowded heart cannot hear subtle guidance. Imagine standing in a market filled with shouting people. Everyone is calling you in a different direction. One voice says, "Come here." Another says, "No, follow me." Another says, "You are too late." Another says, "You are not enough." Even if someone speaks the truth, you may not hear it because the noise is too great. This is what happens inside many hearts. The voice of fear shouts. The voice of desire shouts. The voice of comparison shouts. The voice of old pain shouts. But the remembrance of Allah is soft because it does not force itself upon you. You must turn toward it. You must make space for it. Sometimes Allah creates that space by making every other voice fail you. The person you depended on may give you the wrong advice. The one you trusted may misunderstand your situation. The people you hoped would support you may become silent. This can feel frightening, but perhaps Allah is removing the false belief that another human being always knows what is best for you. Even the wisest person has limits. Even the most sincere teacher can make a mistake. Even someone who loves you deeply may guide you according to their own fears. A parent may tell you not to take a good step because they are afraid. A friend may tell you to remain in a harmful place because they do not understand your pain. A person may tell you to leave too quickly because they are seeing your life through the wounds of their own past. Listen respectfully, but take your heart back to Allah. Make istihara. Make dua. Read the Quran with attention. Ask people of knowledge when religious guidance is needed. Then become still. Do not keep asking the same question until someone gives you the answer your desire wants to hear. Sometimes we say we want guidance, but we secretly want permission. We have already chosen what our nafs desires. We only search for a voice that will agree with us. If one person warns us, we ask another. If another warns us, we search again. We keep moving from voice to voice until we find someone who says, "Do what you want." That is not guidance. That is the nafs wearing the clothes of confusion. True surrender means saying, "Ya Allah, do not give me only what I want. Lead me toward what you know is good, even if my heart does not understand it yet." This dua requires courage. It means you are willing to lose what attracts you if it harms your soul. It means you are willing to wait when your emotions demand speed. It means you are willing to accept Allah's answer even when it arrives as a closed door. The nafs hates this kind of surrender. It wants a clear answer immediately. It wants control. It wants Allah to explain every detail before it obeys. But faith is not built by knowing everything. Faith is built by trusting the one who knows everything. There may be moments when you make sincere dawah and still feel uncertain. You pray, but no clear sign appears. You wait, but nothing changes. You ask, "Why is Allah silent?" Allah is never unaware of you. but sometimes his answer is hidden inside the waiting. The waiting is exposing your intention. Will you remain faithful when there is no immediate comfort? Will you continue praying when you do not receive what you asked for? Will you obey Allah when His wisdom does not match your plan? Anyone can trust when the road is clear. The deeper station is trusting when the next step is hidden. This is where the voice of faith must become stronger than the voice of panic. Panic says, do something now, or everything will be lost. Faith says, I will act wisely, but I will not run ahead of Allah's timing. Fear says, this door must open, or my life is over. Faith says, if Allah closes this door, He is still the Lord of every other door. The nafs says, you need this person. Faith says, I may love them, but I need Allah more. The world says, you are falling behind. Faith says, what Allah has written for me cannot miss me. This does not mean you become passive. Trusting Allah does not mean sitting still while ignoring your duties. You still plan, you still work, you still seek knowledge, you still ask wise people, you still correct your mistakes. But beneath every action is a quiet surrender. I will do what I can, and I will leave what I cannot control to Allah. That is strength. Many people think strength means having all the answers, but spiritual strength often means remaining peaceful when you do not have them. It means you do not allow every new opinion to pull you in another direction. It means you stop changing your path every time someone questions you. It means you do not let fear become your guide. There may be a season when people constantly speak about your life. One says you should leave, another says you should stay. One says you are wasting time, another says you should wait longer. One praises your decision, another calls it foolish. If you build your peace on human agreement, you will never rest. People rarely agree completely. Even when they love you, they see only a small part of your journey. Your task is not to make every person approve. Your task is to keep your intention sincere, remain within what Allah has allowed, and take the wisest step you can. After that, let people speak. The Sufi path teaches the servant to move from the noise of creation toward awareness of the Creator. This does not mean ignoring people or rejecting knowledge. It means placing every voice in its correct position. The Quran is above your desires. The guidance of the Prophet Sikha is above social pressure. Truth is above popularity. Allah's pleasure is above applause. When these priorities become clear, confusion begins to lose power. You may still feel pain. You may still miss people. You may still wonder what the future holds, but deep inside, a new center begins to form. Before, your center was people's reactions. Now, your center is Allah's pleasure. Before, you asked, what will they think? Now, you ask, what is right? Before, you were afraid to disappoint people. Now, you are more afraid of disappointing your own conscience before Allah. This change can make you look different. You may become quieter. You may stop explaining every decision. You may protect your plans until they are strong enough to survive public opinion. You may stop sharing every private pain with people who cannot carry it. You may speak less, but your words become more honest. Some people may think you are becoming distant, but perhaps you are learning that not every thought needs an audience. Some things grow better in silence. A seed is buried before it becomes a tree. A prayer is whispered before its answer appears. A soul is often rebuilt where nobody can see it. Your private connection with Allah should not depend on public approval. Pray when no one knows. Give when no one praises you. Repent without announcing it. Work on your character without waiting for people to notice. Let Allah be enough as your witness. This is difficult because the nafs loves to be seen. It wants people to know that you are changing. It wants praise for your patience. It wants recognition for your sacrifices. It wants others to say, you are spiritual, you are strong, you are special. But the deeper path is hidden. You do good and forget that you did it. You suffer without using your pain to control others. You grow without looking down on those who are still struggling. You listen for Allah's guidance without claiming that every feeling in your heart is a divine message. This point is important. Not every inner voice is guidance. Sometimes it is fear. Sometimes it is ego. Sometimes it is desire. Sometimes it is old trauma speaking. So how do you protect yourself? You measure your inner feelings against the Quran and authentic Islamic teaching. Allah's guidance will never command you toward what He has forbidden. A feeling that leads to pride, cruelty, dishonesty, or neglect of duty should not be called spiritual guidance. True guidance makes the heart more humble. It brings you closer to prayer. It increases honesty. It teaches patience. It makes you kinder without making you weak. It strengthens boundaries without filling you with hatred. It gives peace, but not always comfort. Sometimes guidance asks you to do something difficult. You may need to apologize. You may need to leave a harmful habit. You may need to stop speaking to someone in a way that displeases Allah. You may need to return something that is not yours. You may need to remain patient when revenge feels easier. The voice of the nafs usually protects pride. The voice of guidance often breaks pride. The nafs says, "You did nothing wrong." Guidance says, "Look honestly at your part." The nafs says, "Make them suffer." Guidance says, "Protect yourself, but do not become unjust." The nafs says, "Show everyone what they did." Guidance says, "Seek justice wisely, but do not turn pain into performance." The nafs says, "You are better than them." Guidance says, "You do not know how your own story will end." The more you remember Allah, the clearer this difference becomes. Dhikr cleans the dust from the heart. Prayer slows the storm. The Quran corrects the stories your fear creates. Sujood returns you to your true position, a servant before the Lord of all worlds. When you place your forehead on the ground, the voices of pride begin to weaken. You remember that you do not control every result. You remember that your intelligence has limits. You remember that every person you fear is also a servant of Allah. You remember that the world cannot give what Allah withholds, and it cannot withhold what Allah gives. This is why sujood can become the safest place during confusion. You may enter prayer with 1,000 voices inside you. One voice reminds you of what someone said. Another reminds you of what you lost. Another tells you that the future is dark. But as you remain before Allah, the voices begin to lose their strength. The problem may not disappear. The answer may not arrive immediately. Yet the heart becomes able to carry what it could not carry before. This is one form of divine help. Sometimes Allah changes the situation. Sometimes He changes the heart standing inside the situation. Both are mercy. There will also be times when Allah speaks to your heart through good people. A sincere friend may remind you of truth. A scholar may correct your misunderstanding. A parent may warn you with wisdom. A stranger may say one sentence that awakens something inside you. Do not reject these voices simply because you want to hear only yourself. Allah often sends guidance through creation. The lesson is not that every human voice must disappear forever. The lesson is that every voice must lead you back to Him, not replace Him. A true guide does not make you dependent on their personality. They teach you to depend on Allah. A true friend does not control every decision. They remind you to pray, think, and act with wisdom. A true teacher does not demand blind worship. They point toward truth and admit the limits of their own knowledge. Be careful of anyone who makes you feel that you cannot reach Allah without their personal approval. No human being owns the door of divine mercy. Teachers are respected. Scholars are honored. Parents have rights. Righteous company is a blessing, but worship belongs to Allah alone. Your heart must know the difference. Sometimes Allah silences voices by revealing their weakness. A person you admired may disappoint you. A leader you trusted may show a serious fault. A friend you believed was perfect may hurt you. This can shake your faith if you attach the truth to a personality instead of attaching it to Allah. People can fail. Truth does not fail. A good person can make a bad decision. Islam remains pure. A teacher can fall. Allah remains perfect. Do not allow human weakness to steal your connection with the Creator. Perhaps Allah allowed the mask to fall so your faith could become more mature. Childish faith says, this person represents everything. If they fail, everything is false. Mature faith says, people are imperfect, but Allah is not. This lesson may hurt, but it frees you from idolizing human beings. You stop expecting perfection from those who were created weak. You take wisdom without worshipping the speaker. You respect people without placing them above accountability. You love them, but your faith remains connected to Allah. There may also come a time when your own inner voice becomes silent. You feel empty. You do not know what you want. The dreams that once excited you no longer move you. The old identity no longer fits, but the new one has not yet appeared. This middle stage can feel frightening. You may think you have lost yourself, but perhaps Allah is removing an identity built from other people's expectations. You spent years becoming what they wanted. Now, in the silence, you must discover who you are before Allah. Not who receives the most praise, not who appears successful, not who makes everyone comfortable, but who you are when there is no audience. What do you value? What kind of servant do you want to become? Which habits are pulling you away from Allah? Which relationships strengthen your faith? Which goals are truly yours and which were borrowed from society? Do not rush these questions. The soul cannot always be understood through speed. Some answers need silence. Some truths need time. Sit with the Quran. Walk without constant sound in your ears. Reduce the endless messages, videos, and opinions. Give your mind a chance to become still. Many people say they cannot hear their heart, but they never stop feeding it noise. From the moment they wake up, they enter other people's worlds. They check messages, they watch opinions, they compare lives, they consume arguments. By night, their heart is exhausted. Then they ask why they feel far from Allah. The heart needs protected space. Even a few quiet minutes each day can begin to change you. Sit after Fajr or before sleep. Put the phone away. Say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, and Allahu Akbar slowly. Ask Allah for clarity. Do not force an answer. Simply remain present. At first, the mind may become louder. Old thoughts will appear. Unfinished pain will rise. Do not panic. You are not becoming worse. You are finally hearing what the noise was hiding. Bring each thought to Allah. When fear appears, say, Allah is enough for me. When regret appears, ask forgiveness. When anger appears, ask for justice without hatred. When desire appears, ask whether it is leading you closer to Allah or deeper into restlessness. This is how inner listening becomes worship. Over time, you become less reactive. Not every comment requires an answer. Not every criticism deserves your energy. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every closed door needs to be broken. You begin to pause. You ask, will this bring me closer to Allah or make my heart darker? That pause can save you from years of pain. Many wrong decisions happen because people act while surrounded by noise. They react to pressure. They fear being left behind. They want to prove something. They choose quickly so they do not have to sit with uncertainty. But the spiritually trained heart can wait. It does not wait forever out of fear. It waits long enough to separate panic from wisdom. Then, when the path becomes clear, it moves with courage. Allah may silence every voice before giving you that courage. He may remove constant reassurance, so you learn to take a righteous step without applause. At first, you will feel afraid. You may look behind you, hoping someone will say, yes, this is correct. But sometimes no one will. You will have only prayer, sincere effort, sound knowledge, and trust. Then you must step. This is not reckless confidence, it is humble courage. You say, Ya Allah, I have tried to understand, I have asked for guidance, I have checked my intention, I do not know the unseen, but you do. If this is good, open it with blessing. If it is harmful, turn me away and protect my heart. Then you move. If the path opens, you remain grateful. If it closes, you do not call yourself a failure. You understand that guidance sometimes appears through movement. You take a step, and Allah shows you whether to continue. The servant is not required to know the whole future. You are responsible for the next sincere step. The rest belongs to Allah. One day, you may look back at this silent season and understand why it was necessary. Had every person remained, you might never have learnt to pray deeply. Had every advisor given you an answer, you might never have developed wisdom. Had every door opened, you might never have learnt discernment. Had every voice praised you, you might never have discovered sincerity. The silence was not empty. It was building your inner ear. It was teaching you to recognize the difference between pressure and guidance. It was teaching you that peace does not always come from having a clear future. Sometimes peace comes from knowing who holds it. Eventually, the voices may return. People may come back into your life. New teachers may appear. Good friends may surround you. Opportunities may open. The world may become loud again, but you will not be the same. Before, every voice entered your heart without permission. Now, you examine it. Before, criticism controlled your path. Now, you take what is true and leave what is false. Before, praise made you forget yourself. Now, you thank Allah and remain careful. Before, advice replaced your own prayer. Now, advice leads you back to prayer. You will listen to people without becoming their prisoner. You will love them without making them your compass. You will respect them without giving them Allah's place in your heart. This is spiritual maturity. The goal is not to live in permanent isolation. The goal is to return to people with a heart that belongs to Allah. Then you can be among crowds without losing your center. You can hear many opinions without becoming confused. You can receive love without becoming addicted to it. You can face criticism without collapsing. You can walk through noise while carrying silence inside you. That inner silence is not emptiness. It is remembrance. It is the quiet knowledge that Allah sees you. Allah hears you. Allah knows what you cannot explain. Allah guides in ways you may not yet understand. So when every voice becomes silent, do not assume that you have been abandoned. Perhaps you have been invited into a deeper conversation. Perhaps Allah is teaching your heart to stop searching everywhere for what can only be found through Him. Do not fear the quiet. Enter it with prayer. Enter it with humility. Enter it with the Quran. Enter it without demanding immediate answers. Let the false voices weaken. Let the voice of fear lose its control. Let the voice of the crowd become distant. Let the voice of the nafs be exposed. Then, beneath all that noise, you may discover the truth your soul has always known. You were never without guidance. You were simply listening to too many voices at once. And when Allah becomes greater in your heart than every voice around you, the world may still speak, but it will no longer decide who you are. Lesson 6. Your final attachment must die. There is usually one attachment the heart refuses to release. You may surrender many things to Allah. You may leave harmful places. You may forgive people who wounded you. You may become stronger after rejection. You may learn to survive loneliness. You may stop caring about the opinions of the crowd. But deep inside, one attachment may still remain. One person, one dream, one memory, one hope, one version of the future. You may not speak about it, but your heart still holds it tightly. You tell yourself, I trust Allah. But somewhere inside, you are also saying, Ya Allah, I trust you, But please do not take this. That hidden condition is the final chain. And before Allah elevates the soul, that chain must break. This does not always mean the thing itself must disappear forever. Sometimes Allah removes it. Sometimes He delays it. Sometimes He changes it. Sometimes He leaves it in your life but removes its control over your heart. The real test is not always whether you possess something. The real test is whether that thing possesses you. You can have money without worshipping money. You can love a person without making that person your Lord. You can desire success without allowing success to define your worth. You can hope for marriage, children, healing, friendship, or a better future without making your faith depend on receiving it. But when your heart says, "I cannot be whole unless this happens," attachment has become dangerous. Love is not the problem. Desire is not always the problem. The problem begins when the heart gives creation a place that belongs only to the Creator. The final attachment is often the thing you believe will complete you. You may think, "When this person chooses me, I will finally feel worthy. When this door opens, I will finally feel successful. When my family understands me, I will finally feel peaceful. When I receive the answer to this dua, I will finally trust Allah." But true trust does not begin after the answer. True trust is shown before the answer arrives. It is shown when the door remains closed. It is shown when the person remains distant. It is shown when the future remains unclear. It is shown when you can still say, "Ya Allah, I desire this deeply, but I desire your pleasure more." That sentence is easy to speak. Living it can break the heart, because the nafs does not want Allah alone. The nafs wants Allah and control. It wants Allah and the exact person, Allah and the exact timing, Allah and the exact result, Allah and the future it already imagined. The nafs says, "I will surrender, but only if surrender gives me what I want." That is not full surrender. That is a hidden agreement. It is as if the heart says, "Ya Allah, I will worship you, but you must protect my plan." Allah may then touch the plan. He may delay it. He may allow it to fall apart. He may remove the person you were sure would remain. He may close the door you were certain was written for you, not because He enjoys your pain, not because your tears do not matter, but because the heart cannot rise while it is chained to something below it. Sometimes Allah must show you that the thing you feared losing was never carrying your life. Allah was carrying your life through it. The person was only a means. The job was only a means. The opportunity was only a means. The dream was only a means. The real provider was always Allah. The real protector was always Allah. The real source of love, safety, strength and purpose was always Allah. But when we receive mercy through creation, we often forget the one who sent it. We thank the cup and forget the spring. We depend on the hand and forget the one who moved the hand. We become attached to the door and forget the Lord who opened it. Then Allah may close the door so we remember where the gift came from. This is painful because the heart becomes used to visible support. You can see the person. You can hear their voice. You can hold the money. You can enter the building, you can measure the result. But Allah asks you to trust what you cannot always see. That is why attachment to creation feels easier than trust in the Creator. Creation is visible. Allah's wisdom is often hidden. Creation gives immediate comfort. Allah may give comfort after a period of training. Creation tells you what you want to hear. Allah may teach you through silence. Creation can be held in the hand. Allah asks to be held through faith. The final attachment often survives because it hides behind beautiful words. You may call it loyalty. You may call it love. You may call it patience. You may call it hope. But sometimes what you call loyalty is fear of starting again. What you call love is fear of being alone. What you call patience is refusal to accept the truth. What you call hope is attachment to one specific outcome. Real hope remains connected to Allah. False hope remains chained to a door Allah may already be closing. You must be honest with yourself. Are you waiting because Allah has given you a reason to wait, or are you waiting because you are afraid to let go? Are you praying for what is good, or are you asking Allah to protect something that is damaging your soul? Are you being patient, or are you refusing to accept that the season has ended? These questions are not easy. The heart can lie to itself when it is afraid. That is why the final attachment must be examined in the light of prayer, truth, wise advice, and Islamic guidance. You should not leave every difficult relationship simply because it hurts. You should not abandon every dream because it has been delayed. You should not call every obstacle a sign that Allah wants you to stop. Some good things require patience. Some relationships require forgiveness. Some goals require years of effort. Some tests are meant to strengthen commitment, not destroy it. But there is a difference between patience and self-destruction. There is a difference between hope and denial. There is a difference between loving someone and losing yourself to keep them. There is a difference between working for a dream and making that dream your identity. The final attachment reveals itself through your fear. Ask yourself, what am I most afraid Allah may not give me? What loss would make me feel that my life has no meaning? Whose absence makes me forget Allah's presence? What result do I believe must happen before I can be at peace? Your answer may show you where the chain is hidden. Perhaps it is a person you have placed at the center of your emotional world. You think about them when you wake up. You think about them before sleeping. Their silence controls your day. Their attention makes you feel alive. Their distance makes you feel worthless. You keep checking for a message. You keep reading old conversations. You keep imagining a future with them. You ask Allah for signs, but your heart accepts only the signs that support your desire. When something warns you, you ignore it. When something gives you hope, you hold it tightly. You are not searching for truth. You are searching for permission to remain attached. This is where love becomes a prison. Love should not make you forget your dignity. It should not make you neglect your prayers. It should not turn you into someone who begs for basic respect. It should not force you to accept what Allah has forbidden. It should not make you destroy yourself every time another person becomes distant. If someone's presence pulls you away from Allah, then your heart is paying too high a price. You may still love them. You may still wish them well. You may still pray that Allah guides and protects them. But love does not always mean staying close. Sometimes love must become dua from a distance. Sometimes forgiveness must happen without reunion. Sometimes you can release anger without reopening the same door. Sometimes the most sincere thing you can say is, Ya Allah, I place this person back into your care. I cannot carry them inside my heart in this way anymore. That prayer may feel like death because the heart has built a whole identity around the attachment. You were the person waiting for them. You were the person trying to save them. You were the person hoping they would change. You were the person imagining the day they would finally understand your value. If you release them, who will you become? This is why letting go is not only about losing someone, it is about losing the role you played around them. Perhaps you were always the rescuer. You were always the one forgiving. You were always the one giving another chance. You believed your goodness could change them. You believed your patience could heal them. You believed that if you loved them enough, they would become the person you imagined. But only Allah guides hearts. You can support someone. You can advise them. You can pray for them. You can show mercy. But you cannot force transformation. You cannot carry a person who refuses to walk. You cannot heal someone by allowing them to wound you forever. You cannot save another soul by destroying your own peace, faith, and dignity. Sometimes the final attachment is not to a person. It is attachment to being needed. You feel valuable only when someone depends on you. You enter broken situations because they give you a purpose. You become the listener, the helper, the fixer, and the rescuer. But inside, you may be avoiding your own wounds. As long as someone needs you, you do not have to face yourself. As long as you are solving their problems, you do not have to ask why you feel empty. Then Allah may remove the person you were trying to rescue. Suddenly, you have no one to fix, no one to chase, no one to protect from the results of their own actions. The silence becomes uncomfortable because now you must look inward. You may realize that your attachment was not only love, it was also identity. You needed to be needed. Allah may break this pattern so you learn that your worth does not come from being useful to one particular person. You have value because Allah created you. Your life has purpose even when nobody is calling for help. You can serve people without becoming addicted to their dependence. You can be kind without becoming responsible for every person's choices. You can give without becoming empty. You can care without becoming controlled. The final attachment may also be a dream. You worked for it for years. You prayed for it. You made sacrifices. You told everyone that it would happen. You imagined the exact moment of success. Then the door closed. You failed the exam. The business did not grow. The opportunity went to someone else. The marriage did not happen. The move was cancelled. The child you hoped for did not come. The healing took longer than expected. Now the pain is not only about the dream, it is also about the future you already lived inside your mind. You had decorated that future. You knew how it would look. You knew who would stand beside you. You knew what people would say. You knew how you would finally feel. Then reality broke the picture. This kind of loss can be invisible to others. They may say, nothing was guaranteed, but your heart still grieves, because you are not only grieving what happened, you are grieving what you believed would happen. That grief is real. Do not shame yourself for feeling it. Cry before Allah. Speak honestly. Say, Ya Allah, I wanted this. I imagined my life with it. I do not understand why it was taken from me. Surrender does not require pretending that you never cared. True surrender is not coldness. It is not saying, I feel nothing. It is saying, I feel this deeply, but I will not turn my pain into rebellion against Allah. You may be disappointed without becoming faithless. You may grieve without accusing Allah of injustice. You may wish the result were different, while still believing that His knowledge is greater than yours. This is one of the hardest stations of trust, to love Allah while your heart is hurting, to continue praying while the answer appears opposite to your request, to say Alhamdulillah, not because the pain feels good, but because Allah remains worthy of praise even when life is difficult. Some people think surrender means you must immediately understand the wisdom. You do not. Sometimes understanding comes years later. Sometimes it never fully comes in this life. You may never know why one person left. You may never see the danger hidden behind one closed door. You may never understand why your path was harder than another person's path. Faith is not built only on explanations. It is built on knowing Allah's character. You may not understand His plan, but you know He is not careless. You may not understand the delay, but you know He has not forgotten you. You may not understand the loss, but you know He is not cruel. You may not understand the silence, but you know He hears every dua. This knowledge becomes the rope you hold when the heart has no other support. The final attachment may be to your own image. You want people to see you as strong. You want them to believe you never fail. You want to appear wise, spiritual, successful, calm, or important. You work hard to protect this image. You hide your weakness. You avoid asking for help. You refuse to admit when you are wrong. You remain in situations that damage you because leaving would make people talk. You continue a path that no longer fits because changing direction would feel embarrassing. You are not attached to the thing itself. You are attached to what people will think if you lose it. Allah may then allow the image to break. People may see your failure. Your plan may collapse publicly. Someone may misunderstand you. A weakness may become visible. You may no longer look like the person you tried to present. This can feel humiliating, but perhaps Allah is freeing you from the prison of appearance. The nafs wants to look complete. The soul wants to become sincere. These are not the same. You can appear strong while being empty inside. You can appear religious while secretly needing praise. You can speak about trust while being controlled by fear. You can teach patience while refusing to accept your own test. Allah may allow the outer image to crack so the inner reality can be healed. Do not fear being seen as imperfect. You are imperfect. So is everyone else. Your mistakes do not surprise Allah. Your weakness does not make him turn away when you sincerely return. You do not need to perform perfection before your Lord. You need honesty. Say, Ya Allah, this is where I am weak. This is what I fear. This is what I am still holding. This is the person I cannot release. This is the dream I made too important. This is the praise I secretly desire. This is the identity I am afraid to lose. Such honesty is the beginning of freedom. The final attachment may even be attachment to pain. This sounds strange. Why would anyone hold pain? Because pain can become familiar. You may speak about what happens so often that it becomes your identity. You are no longer simply a person who was betrayed. You become the betrayed one. You are no longer someone who experienced rejection. You become the rejected one. You are no longer a person healing from loss. You become the one everyone leaves. The wound becomes the story through which you see everything. Every new person is judged through the old betrayal. Every delay feels like another rejection. Every silence seems like proof that you are unwanted. You say you want healing, but a part of you is afraid to release the pain because you do not know who you will be without it. The pain explains your anger. It explains your distance. It explains why you do not trust. It explains why you avoid trying again. If the wound heals, you may have to take responsibility for your next step. You may have to open your heart carefully. You may have to build a new life. You may have to stop blaming the past for every present choice. Healing can be frightening because it removes excuses. Allah may ask you to release not only the person who hurt you, but also the identity formed around the hurt. Forgive where forgiveness is possible. Set boundaries where boundaries are needed. Seek justice where justice is required. But do not build a home inside the wound. You were hurt, but you are more than what happened to you. You were abandoned, but you are not abandoned by Allah. You were rejected, but rejection is not your name. You were broken, but brokenness is not your final form. The final attachment can also be attachment to control. You want to know everything before taking one step. You want Allah to show you the entire road. You want guarantees. You want proof that the risk will succeed. You want to know who will stay, what will happen, how long the test will last, and exactly when relief will come. But life does not offer this kind of control. You can plan wisely. You can prepare. You can seek advice. You can make careful decisions. Yet the future remains with Allah. Attachment to control makes every surprise feel like an attack. When plans change, you panic. When people behave differently, you become angry. When delays happen, you think everything is ruined. You are not only suffering from the event, you are suffering because reality refused to obey your plan. Allah may disturb your plans to teach your heart flexibility. You wanted one road, He opened another. You wanted one timing, He chose a different season. You wanted certainty, He offered trust. The nafs says, I need to control the future so I can feel safe. Faith says, I am safe because Allah is already present in the future I cannot see. This does not remove every fear, but it changes where you place your weight. You no longer lean only on your plan. You lean on the planner. You no longer believe peace comes from knowing what will happen. You learn that peace comes from knowing who is in control. The final attachment may be the desire to be understood. You want someone to finally see your heart. You want the people who judged you to return and admit they were wrong. You want the person who left to realize your value. You imagine the day they will apologize. You imagine how they will regret losing you. You may even improve yourself partly so they will see what they missed. This attachment can hide inside healing. You say, I am moving on. But part of you is still performing for the person who left. You post for them. You succeed for them. You become quiet for them. You imagine their reaction. They remain inside your decisions, even in their absence. This means they still have a place of control. The final release comes when you no longer need them to understand. You no longer need them to return. You no longer need their regret. You no longer need an apology before you can live. An apology may be good. Justice may be necessary. Truth may one day become clear. But your peace cannot remain locked behind another person's awakening. Some people will never understand what they did. Some will protect their pride until the end. Some will rewrite the story so they appear innocent. Some will move forward without giving you the closure you hoped for. You must not allow their lack of understanding to stop your healing. Closure is not always something another person gives. Sometimes closure is the moment you say, Allah saw everything. I do not need to keep reopening the wound to prove that it happened. This is not weakness. It is not allowing injustice. It is not pretending that harm was acceptable. It is choosing not to drink the poison of endless anger. You can seek justice and still free your heart from obsession. You can tell the truth without making revenge your purpose. You can protect yourself without becoming cruel. You can remember the lesson without carrying the person forever. The final attachment may even be attachment to spiritual feelings. You may love the sweetness you feel in prayer. You may love the tears during dua. You may love the peace that comes during dhikr. These are beautiful gifts, but sometimes Allah removes the feeling. Prayer becomes difficult. Dhikr feels dry. The Quran no longer brings immediate tears. You wonder, what happened to my faith? Perhaps nothing is wrong. Perhaps Allah is teaching you to worship Him, not the feeling He gives you. Will you still pray when prayer feels heavy? Will you still remember Allah when your heart feels quiet? Will you still obey when there is no emotional reward? A child may work only when given a sweet reward. A mature servant remains faithful because Allah deserves worship. Spiritual sweetness is a gift, but it is not the foundation. Feelings rise and fall. Faith must learn to walk through both. Some days your heart will feel close. Other days it will feel distant. Do not measure Allah's nearness only by emotion. Allah is not nearer because you cried. He is not farther because you felt dry. Continue. Pray. Remember Him. Repent. Read. Serve. Trust that hidden growth may be happening even when you feel nothing. A seed under the soil does not look alive, but something is forming in darkness. Your quiet worship during a dry season may be more sincere than your worship during an emotional one. When you feel sweetness, the act is easier. When you feel nothing and still continue, your loyalty becomes visible. The final attachment must die because Allah wants to give you freedom. Not freedom from love, freedom from slavery to love. Not freedom from dreams, freedom from worshipping dreams. Not freedom from people, freedom from needing people to become your source. Not freedom from effort, freedom from believing that results belong to your effort alone. Not freedom from grief, freedom from allowing grief to become your Lord. This death is not physical. It is the death of false ownership. You stop saying, this person is mine. You say, this person is a trust from Allah. You stop saying, this success must happen. You say, I will work sincerely and Allah will choose the result. You stop saying, my life is ruined because the plan changed. You say, my plan changed, but Allah's knowledge did not. You stop saying, I cannot live without them. You say, their absence hurts, but my life remains in Allah's hands. This is how attachment slowly dies, not through hatred, not through pretending, not through forcing the heart to become empty in one day. It dies through repeated surrender. Each time the memory returns, you return it to Allah. Each time fear rises, you remind yourself who controls the future. Each time you want to chase, you pause. Each time you want to beg for attention, you protect your dignity. Each time you want to force a door, you ask whether Allah may be closing it for mercy. Each time your mind creates a perfect future, you say, Ya Allah, give me what is good, not only what looks good to me. You may need to repeat this surrender hundreds of times. Letting go is rarely one moment. It is often a daily act. You can release someone in the morning and miss them at night. You can accept a closed door today and question it tomorrow. You can feel strong for a week and suddenly cry again. This does not mean your surrender was false. It means the heart is learning. Do not insult your healing because pain returned. Do not think you have failed because a memory still hurts. A chain can be broken even while the skin remains wounded. Freedom comes first. Comfort may come later. When the attachment feels strong, do not fight it only with thoughts. Use action. Remove what constantly reopens the wound. Stop checking what you know will disturb you. Do not keep reading messages that belong to a finished season. Do not secretly watch the life of someone you are asking Allah to help you release. Do not build your day around the possibility that they may return. Do not keep an emotional door open while pretending you have moved on. You cannot ask Allah to heal you while feeding the same wound every night. Protecting yourself is not hatred. Distance can be medicine. Silence can be mercy. A boundary can be an act of worship when it protects your faith and dignity. You may also need to stop speaking about the attachment every day. The more you repeat one story, the deeper it can enter your identity. Choose one wise, trustworthy person if you need support. Speak honestly, seek help, but do not turn your pain into constant conversation with everyone. Not every person deserves access to your wound. Some will misunderstand it, some will enjoy the story, some will give careless advice. Some will keep you trapped because your pain makes them feel needed. Take your deepest struggle to Allah. Let your sujood hold what ordinary conversations cannot. There are tears that people cannot understand. There are fears you cannot explain clearly. There are memories that feel too heavy for words. Allah understands before you speak. He knows the attachment completely. He knows how it formed. He knows which wound made you vulnerable to it. He knows what you were searching for. He knows why you could not release it earlier. Do not approach Allah only with shame. Approach Him with honesty. Say, Ya Allah, I know this attachment is controlling me. I know I think about it more than I remember you. I know I am afraid to let it go. I know part of me still hopes for what may not be good. I cannot free myself without your help. Remove from my heart what takes me away from you. Keep what is good, remove what is harmful, and make me pleased with your decision. This dua may frighten you, because part of you knows that Allah may answer by removing the thing. But another part of you knows that remaining chained is more painful than freedom. Be brave enough to ask for what heals, not only what comforts. Allah may answer slowly. He may not erase every feeling. Instead, He may weaken the attachment little by little. One day, you notice that you did not check. Another day, the memory appears but does not destroy your peace. Later, you hear their name and your heart remains calm. Then you realize that something has changed. You still remember. You may still care, but you are no longer owned. This is one of the most beautiful forms of healing. The person may remain the same. The past may remain unchanged. The door may remain closed, but your heart becomes free. Sometimes Allah returns what you released. The person may come back with better character. The opportunity may open in a healthier form. The dream may arrive after you stop worshipping it, but when it returns, you receive it differently. Before, you said, I cannot live without this. Now you say, Alhamdulillah for this gift. but Allah is greater. Before, you held it with fear, now you hold it with gratitude. Before, you were terrified of losing it, now you know that even if it leaves, Allah remains. This is why Allah may delay some gifts. You were ready to receive them with your hands, but not with your heart. If they came too early, you might have worshipped them. You might have forgotten Allah through the blessing. You might have made the person your center. You might have made success your identity. You might have become proud. The delay was not always denial. Sometimes the delay was purification. Allah was teaching you how to receive the gift without becoming its prisoner. And sometimes Allah does not return what you released. This is also mercy, though it may take time to see. The heart may ask, why did I have to love something that was not meant to stay? Perhaps because the love revealed you to yourself. It exposed your fears. It showed you your wounds. It taught you boundaries. It brought you to prayer. It broke your pride. It showed you how deeply you could feel. It taught you that survival was possible. It made you seek Allah in a way comfort never did. Not everything that leaves was meaningless. Some people are lessons, not lifelong companions. Some dreams awaken strength, even when they do not become reality. Some doors lead you toward your true path by refusing to open. Some losses remove a false identity. Do not call the whole journey wasted because the ending was different from what you hoped. Allah can use even broken things to guide the servant. The cup may break, but the thirst it revealed can lead you to the spring. The final attachment dies when you stop fighting Allah over the ending. You may not like the ending. You may still cry. But you stop saying, it must be different. You begin saying, Ya Allah, I place the ending with you. This is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean the pain disappears. It means the argument inside the heart begins to end. Before acceptance, the mind keeps returning to the same questions. What if I had done more? What if I had spoken differently? What if I had waited? What if they return? What if the door opens later? Some reflection is useful. You should learn from your mistakes. You should repair what can still be repaired. But endless what-if questions can become another chain. At some point, you must trust that Allah knows what you did, what you intended, what you failed to understand, and what was beyond your control. Repent for your mistakes. Correct what you can. Then stop punishing yourself for not knowing the unseen. You were never supposed to control every ending. You were supposed to act sincerely and return the result to Allah. The final attachment may resist death. It may rise again when you feel lonely. It may whisper during weak moments. Go back. Check again. Maybe this time they changed. Maybe the old door will finally give you peace. Be careful. Not every return is destiny. Sometimes it is only a test of whether you have learned. The familiar can feel safe, even when it was harmful. The heart may confuse recognition with peace. You know the person, you know the pattern, you know the pain. The unknown future feels frightening, so the past begins to look beautiful. Do not remember only the moments that comfort your attachment. Remember the full truth. Remember the confusion. Remember how your faith suffered. Remember how small you became. Remember how many times you ignored your dignity. Remember why you asked Allah for rescue. Nostalgia can edit the past. It removes the pain and plays only the beautiful scenes. Wisdom remembers the whole story. This does not mean you become bitter. It means you remain honest. You can be grateful for good memories while still accepting that the season was not meant to continue. You can forgive someone and still understand that closeness is no longer healthy. You can remember love without returning to the chain. The final attachment also dies when you stop asking the wrong question. Instead of asking, how can I get this back? Ask, what is Allah building in me now? Instead of asking, why did they not choose me? Ask, why did I forget to choose dignity, truth, and faith? Instead of asking, when will the pain stop? Ask, How can I remain close to Allah while I heal? Instead of asking, what if nothing better comes? Ask, has Allah ever been limited to one door? The nafs believes there is only one source of happiness, one person, one opportunity, one path, one future. But Allah's mercy is not limited. The one who created millions of roads is not trapped behind the door that closed. The one who created every heart is not unable to send sincere companionship. The one who provided before your attachment existed can provide after it ends. Your fear says, this was my only chance. Faith says, Allah is not the Lord of only one chance. You may not receive the same thing again, but Allah can give something deeper. He may give peace instead of reunion. He may give clarity instead of an explanation. He may give purpose instead of the plan you lost. He may give self-respect instead of someone's attention. He may give closeness to Him instead of the approval of people. He may give you a stronger heart rather than an easier path. Do not decide the shape of mercy before it arrives. You may be waiting for one answer while Allah is sending another. The final attachment must die because the next stage requires empty hands. You cannot receive what is ahead while holding tightly to what has ended. You cannot enter a new chapter while reading the same old page every night. You cannot welcome healthy love while comparing every person to the one who hurt you. You cannot discover a new purpose while forcing life to return to an old plan. Empty hands feel frightening, but they are also ready. A closed hand cannot receive, an open hand can. The soul must learn to stand before Allah without conditions, not saying, I will trust you if this person returns, I will praise you if the plan succeeds, I will worship you if my pain ends, but saying, I will trust you because you are Allah. I will worship you because you created me. I will praise you in ease and in difficulty. I will obey you even when my desire is disappointed. This is not the station of a heart without pain. It is the station of a heart whose pain no longer controls its loyalty. That is elevation. Many people ask Allah to elevate them. They want wisdom. They want inner peace. They want spiritual strength. They want a heart that cannot be controlled by the world. But elevation has a cost. The chain must break. The false center must collapse. The attachment that competes with trust must lose its throne. You cannot become free while protecting your prison. You cannot ask Allah for a higher station while refusing to leave what keeps you low. You cannot ask for light while holding tightly to what darkens the heart. This does not mean you should hate yourself for being attached. Attachment is part of human weakness. The heart naturally loves. It naturally hopes. It naturally fears loss. Allah knows this. He is not asking you to become stone. He is teaching the heart where to place its deepest trust. Be gentle with yourself during this process. Do not demand instant detachment. Do not call yourself weak because you still miss someone. Do not think your faith is false because a dream still matters. Bring the attachment to Allah again and again. Each surrender is worship. Each time you resist the urge to chase what harms you, you are growing. Each time you choose prayer over panic, you are growing. Each time you accept a closed door without losing your manners with Allah, you are growing. Each time you stop seeking worth from another person, you are growing. The growth may be invisible, but Allah sees it. He sees the message you wanted to send, but did not. He sees the door you wanted to reopen, but left closed. He sees the tears you wiped before standing for prayer. He sees how difficult it was not to return. He sees the battle between your nafs and your soul. No sincere struggle is wasted. There may be nights when the attachment feels stronger than your faith. Do not believe that feeling. A feeling is not always the truth. The heart may feel empty while Allah is filling it in a hidden way. The heart may feel weak while you are performing one of the strongest acts of surrender. The heart may feel forgotten while Allah is protecting it from what it still desires. Do not measure your journey only by comfort. Sometimes growth feels like loss before it feels like freedom. Sometimes healing feels like loneliness before it feels like peace. Sometimes Allah's protection feels like rejection before the wisdom becomes clear. Stay close. Do not abandon prayer because the test became hard. Do not seek forbidden comfort because halal relief feels delayed. Do not return to what breaks you because healing feels slow. Pain does not make the wrong door right. Loneliness does not make disrespect acceptable. Missing someone does not mean they belong in your life. Desire is not proof of destiny. A strong feeling is not always a sign from Allah. Measure the path by truth, character, peace, Islamic guidance, and the effect it has on your relationship with Allah. If something repeatedly pulls you away from prayer, dignity, honesty, and balance, do not romanticize it as spiritual love. Love that destroys your connection with Allah is not leading you toward elevation. The final attachment must die, but love itself does not have to die. Love can be purified. You may still care, but without control. You may still remember, but without obsession. You may still pray for the person, but without waiting for them to complete you. You may still work for the dream, but without making the result your God. You may still hope, but your hope becomes wider than one outcome. You say, Ya Allah, I ask for this if it is good. But if your wisdom has chosen another path, make my heart willing to walk it. This is purified hope. It remains alive but surrendered. It asks, but it does not command. It desires, but it does not accuse. It waits, but it does not stop living. It trusts that Allah can answer through giving, delaying, changing, or removing. One of the signs that the attachment is dying is that you begin to want Allah's choice more than your own. At first, you may say the words without feeling them. That is okay. Continue. Say, Ya Allah, choose for me, even if your voice shakes. Choose for me, even if you are afraid. Choose for me, even if part of you still wants the old plan. Over time, the prayer enters the heart. You begin to feel relief. You no longer have to force the future. You no longer have to carry what belongs to Allah. You no longer have to know how everything will end. You do your part. You keep your prayers. You protect your character. You work honestly. You ask for guidance. Then you release the result. This release creates space. You begin to breathe differently. You notice beauty again. You return to parts of yourself you abandoned. You spend time with people who bring peace rather than confusion. You remember dreams that do not depend on one person. You rebuild your routine. You care for your body. You strengthen your faith. You learn something new. You serve others. You begin living instead of waiting. This is important. Do not turn surrender into another form of waiting. Some people say, I gave it to Allah, but they remain frozen. They do not move. They do not build. They do not heal. They are still secretly waiting for the old door. True surrender returns you to life. You say, if Allah brings it back in goodness, I will receive it with wisdom. If He does not, I will still live the life He has given me. That is freedom. Your life is not a waiting room for one person. Your purpose is not paused because one dream failed. Allah did not create you only for the thing you lost. There is worship still to perform. There is knowledge still to seek. There are people still to help. There are qualities still to build. There are forms of mercy you have not yet seen. There are doors you do not yet know exist. Do not spend your entire life facing the door that closed behind you. Turn around. The path may be opening in another direction. When the final attachment dies, the world does not necessarily become empty. It becomes lighter. People remain, but they are no longer gods. Dreams remain, but they are no longer chains. Love remains, but it is no longer desperation. Success remains valuable, but it no longer defines you. Loss still hurts, but it no longer destroys your relationship with Allah. You begin to carry everything with open hands. You say, "This is a gift, not my Lord. This is a blessing, not my identity. This person is beloved, but Allah is more beloved. This dream matters, but my faith matters more. This life is precious, but it belongs to Allah." This is the heart of surrender. It does not reject the world. It places the world in the right position. The world remains in the hand. Allah remains in the heart. When the world enters the heart, every loss becomes death. When Allah fills the heart, loss becomes pain, but not destruction. You grieve, but you remain standing. You cry, but you still pray. You miss, but you do not beg creation to save you. You fail, but you do not lose your worth. You are disappointed, but you do not accuse Allah. You become difficult to control because your deepest need is no longer in human hands. A person cannot control you by threatening to leave when you know Allah remains. Society cannot control you through criticism when Allah's pleasure matters more. Failure cannot completely destroy you when success is not your God. Delay cannot make you faithless when timing belongs to Allah. This is why the death of attachment is also the birth of courage. You become willing to walk away from what damages your soul. You become willing to wait for what is halal and healthy. You become willing to say no. You become willing to disappoint people when obedience requires it. You become willing to begin again. You become willing to live without guarantees. You stop asking the world for permission to become the servant Allah is calling you to be. The final attachment was not only holding your heart, it was holding your future. Once it loosens, your energy returns. The thoughts that were trapped in one person begin to move toward purpose. The time spent checking, waiting, remembering, and imagining becomes available again. You can use it to pray, to work, to learn, to heal, to serve, to build, to live. This is one reason Allah asks you to release. He is not only taking something away, He is returning your life to you. The attachment had occupied your mind. It had taken your sleep. It had controlled your mood. It had weakened your confidence. It had made your days depend on events outside your control. When it dies, your life becomes yours again. But now you offer it back to Allah consciously. You say, "Ya Allah, I wasted many days chasing what could not carry me. Let the days ahead belong to you." That prayer can change the direction of a life. Do not fear the person you will become after letting go. You will not become cold. You will become clear. You will not stop loving. You will love without abandoning yourself. You will not stop hoping. You will hope without demanding. You will not stop trusting people. You will trust with wisdom and boundaries. You will not stop dreaming. You will dream while knowing Allah may write something different. You will not lose your heart. You will finally receive it back. And once the heart returns to Allah, it becomes safer for creation. You no longer demand that people heal wounds they did not create. You no longer ask one person to carry your entire emotional world. You no longer punish others for being imperfect. You become able to love them as servants of Allah, not as replacements for Allah. This is deeper love. It has mercy but also wisdom. It has closeness but also boundaries. It has loyalty but not blindness. It has hope but not worship. The final attachment may die quietly. There may be no dramatic moment. One day you simply realize you are tired of carrying it. You stop fighting reality. You stop replaying the same story. You stop imagining the same return. You stop asking why. You breathe and say, "Ya Allah, it is yours now." Nothing outside may change in that moment, but inside, a door opens. The heart makes space. The soul stands up. The chain falls. You may cry, but the tears feel different. Before, the tears were asking the past to return. Now, the tears are releasing it. Before, you cried because you felt abandoned. Now, you cry because you finally understand that Allah remained through every loss. Before, you wanted the attachment more than freedom. Now, you want freedom more than the attachment. This is the turning point. Do not rush away from it. Sit before Allah. Thank Him for carrying you. Thank Him for what the attachment taught you. Thank Him for the protection you recognized and the protection you still do not understand. Ask forgiveness for every time you placed creation above Him. Then ask for a heart that remains soft but belongs fully to Allah. Say, Ya Allah, do not make me cold after pain. Do not let loss turn me cruel. Do not let betrayal make me unjust. Do not let independence become pride. Teach me to love without worshipping. Teach me to release without hating. Teach me to remember without returning to chains. Teach me to receive your gifts without forgetting you. Teach me to lose without losing faith. This is the balance of the spiritual path. A soft heart with strong boundaries. A loving heart with correct dependence. A hopeful heart with complete surrender. A wounded heart that refuses to become dark. A free heart that still cares for people. When your final attachment dies, do not become proud. Do not look down on people who are still struggling with theirs. You know how difficult release can be. Be gentle. Do not tell everyone, just move on. Some chains formed through years of pain. Some attachments grew from childhood wounds. Some people were taught to seek worth through others. Some hearts need time, support, prayer, knowledge, and careful healing. Help without becoming superior. Share truth without becoming harsh. Remember how many times Allah was patient with you. Freedom should make you merciful. If it makes you proud, the nafs has simply chosen a new mask. It may say, I need no one. Be careful. That is not always tawakkul. Sometimes it is fear pretending to be strength. Islam does not teach complete emotional isolation. Good people are blessings. Family is a trust. Friendship can heal. Marriage can bring peace. Community can protect faith. The lesson is not to reject human connection. The lesson is to connect without giving away the center of your heart. Allah remains first, then love becomes beautiful. Without this order, love becomes heavy. You expect humans to act like the Creator. You expect them never to change, never to misunderstand, never to become tired, never to fail. No person can meet that expectation. When Allah is first, you allow people to be human. You appreciate their goodness. You forgive ordinary weakness. You set limits against real harm. You ask Allah to protect every relationship from becoming an idol. This is how attachment transforms into healthy love. The final attachment must die before elevation, because the elevated soul cannot be owned by every changing thing. People change. Money rises and falls. Reputation disappears. Beauty fades. Strength weakens. Plans collapse. The world turns. Only Allah remains. The soul that builds its home inside change will always feel unsafe. The soul that builds its home in Allah can travel through change without losing its center. This does not mean the storm stops. It means the foundation becomes deeper. The world may shake around you. People may leave. Plans may fail. You may cry. But beneath the pain is a quiet knowledge. My Lord remains. That sentence is not small. It can carry a person through what once seemed impossible. My Lord remains. When the person leaves, my Lord remains. When the door closes, my Lord remains. When people misunderstand, my Lord remains. When the dream dies, my Lord remains. When you have nothing left to hold, this is the secret hidden inside the death of attachment. Allah is not asking you to enter emptiness. He is asking you to discover fullness in Him. The final chain breaks, and you realize you were never falling into nothing. You were falling into the care of Allah. So release what He is asking you to release. Not with anger, not with hatred, not with false strength. Release it with trembling hands if necessary. Release it while crying. Release it one day at a time. Release it in every sujood. Release it each time the memory returns. Release it each time fear tells you that nothing better exists. Release it by trusting that Allah knows what your heart cannot yet understand. Perhaps the thing you are losing was never the destination. Perhaps it was only the doorway through which Allah brought you back to Himself. And when the final attachment dies, something greater is born. A heart that can receive without worshipping, a heart that can lose without collapsing, a heart that can love without becoming a slave, a heart that can walk through the world while belonging only to Allah. That heart is ready for elevation. Lesson 7. You will return untouchable. One day, you will return to the same world that once broke you. You will meet the same kinds of people. You will hear the same criticism. You will face rejection again. Someone may misunderstand you. Someone may walk away. A door may close without warning. Life will not suddenly become easy, but you will be different. The things that once controlled your heart will no longer have the same power. The silence that once frightened you will no longer feel empty. The rejection that once destroyed your confidence will no longer define your worth. The people you once chased will no longer decide whether your day is peaceful. You will still feel, you will still love, you will still cry, but you will not collapse in the same way. This is what it means to return untouchable. It does not mean nobody can hurt you. It means pain can touch your heart without taking control of your soul. It does not mean you become cold. It means you become rooted. It does not mean you stop needing people. It means you stop worshipping their presence. It does not mean you never feel fear. It means fear no longer becomes your master. Before this journey, one person's silence could ruin your entire day. Now you may notice the silence, but you will not lose yourself inside it. Before, rejection made you ask, "What is wrong with me?" Now you will ask, "What is Allah protecting me from?" Before, people's opinions decided how you saw yourself. Now you will remember that Allah knew you before anyone formed an opinion about you. Before, every closed door felt like the end. Now you will know that the Lord of one closed door is also the Lord of 1,000 unseen doors. This change does not happen because the world becomes kinder. It happens because your heart becomes stronger. But this strength is not loud. It does not need to prove itself. It does not enter every argument. It does not explain itself to everyone. It does not threaten people. It does not say, "I need nobody." True spiritual strength is quiet. It says, "I love people, but my heart belongs to Allah. I welcome good things, but I do not worship them. I accept advice, but I do not become a prisoner of opinion. I feel pain, but I will not let pain turn me away from my Lord." This is the strength created by separation. You may have thought Allah was only taking people away, but He was also taking weakness out of you. He was removing the need to be constantly chosen. He was removing the fear that one person could destroy your future. He was removing the habit of begging creation for what only the Creator could give. He was clearing your heart. At first, you saw only absence. Later, you will see preparation. You will understand that the empty season was teaching you to stand. The lonely nights were teaching you to listen. The closed doors were teaching you to surrender. The people who left were revealing the attachments hidden inside your heart. The misunderstandings were freeing you from the need to manage everyone's opinion. The silence was helping you hear the truth. The pain was not meaningless. It was shaping you. The old version of you entered pain asking, "How do I make this stop?" The new version asks, "How can this bring me closer to Allah?" That question changes everything. It does not make the pain smaller. It makes the pain useful. There are people who experience hardship and become bitter. They stop trusting. They stop loving. They punish new people for old wounds. They become harsh because they believe softness caused their pain. But your goal is not to leave this journey with a hard heart. Your goal is to leave with a pure heart. A hard heart says, "Nobody deserves me." A pure heart says, "I will love wisely." A hard heart says, "Everyone leaves." A pure heart says, "People may leave, but Allah remains." A hard heart builds walls against everyone. A pure heart builds doors with boundaries. A hard heart hides pain behind pride. A pure heart brings pain to Allah. Do not confuse coldness with healing. Coldness can make you feel powerful for a while. You stop caring. You stop trusting. You stop showing emotion. Nobody can reject you because you no longer allow anyone near. But this is not freedom. This is fear wearing strong clothes. Real freedom is being able to love again without losing yourself. It is being able to care without becoming controlled. It is being able to open your heart carefully while keeping Allah at the center. It is knowing that another person's love is a gift, not the source of your existence. That kind of heart is difficult to control. People can no longer threaten you with their absence. They can no longer say, "Do what I want," or "I will leave," and make you abandon your values. You may grieve if they go, but you will not betray Allah to make them stay. This is one of the clearest signs of elevation. Before, you feared losing people more than losing your peace. You accepted disrespect. You remained silent when boundaries were crossed. You made excuses for behavior that was clearly harming you. You told yourself, maybe they will change. You kept giving chances because you feared starting again. But after Allah rebuilds you, your love becomes wiser. You will still forgive. But forgiveness will no longer mean giving endless access. You will still be kind. But kindness will no longer mean allowing people to use you. You will still be patient. But patience will no longer mean staying forever in harm. You will understand that Islam teaches mercy, but it does not command you to become a home for repeated injustice. You can forgive someone and still keep distance. You can wish them well and still protect yourself. You can make dua for them without reopening the same wound. You can release anger without returning to the same pattern. This is balance. The old you thought boundaries were cruel. The new you understands that boundaries can protect love from becoming resentment. Without boundaries, you may keep giving until your heart becomes full of anger. You may say yes until you secretly hate everyone asking. You may remain available until you lose respect for yourself. Then your kindness becomes heavy. But when you learn to say no with good manners, your yes becomes more honest. When you protect your time, your presence becomes more meaningful. When you stop giving from fear, you begin giving from sincerity. Allah is not teaching you to become selfish. He is teaching you to stop abandoning yourself to prove that you are good. You do not have to destroy your health to show love. You do not have to lose your dignity to prove loyalty. You do not have to accept forbidden behavior to avoid loneliness. You do not have to betray your values so people will call you kind. You can serve people and still remember that you are also a servant with limits. Only Allah is without need. You are human. You become tired. You need rest. You need prayer. You need time to heal. You need moments of silence. Accepting your limits does not make you weak. It makes you honest. When you return untouchable, you will also stop trying to save everyone. Before, you may have believed it was your duty to fix every broken person. You saw someone suffering and immediately entered their pain. You carried their problems. You made their healing your responsibility. You remained beside them even when they refused to change. You thought leaving would make you a bad person. But you learned something difficult. You can guide a person toward a door, but you cannot force them to enter. You can offer advice, but you cannot create willingness inside another heart. You can support someone, but you cannot live their life for them. You can love someone deeply and still be unable to save them from the results of their choices. Guidance belongs to Allah. This truth will remove a heavy burden from your shoulders. You will help where you can. You will pray. You will speak truth with mercy. You will support sincere effort, but you will stop drowning beside people who refuse every rope. You will stop calling control care. You will stop believing that your suffering is proof of loyalty. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step back. Let the person face the truth. Let them take responsibility. Let Allah teach them in a way your words could not. This does not mean you enjoy their pain. It means you stop standing between them and the lesson Allah may be allowing. The untouchable heart knows when to speak and when to remain silent. Before, you answered every accusation. You explained every choice. You tried to correct every false story. You wanted everyone to know that you were not a bad person. You believed peace would come when people understood, but then you learnt that some people misunderstand you because they lack information. Others misunderstand you because misunderstanding protects their pride. They do not want the full truth. They want a story that makes them innocent. No explanation can reach someone who has already decided not to hear. So you become quieter, not because you have nothing to say, because you have learned that truth does not always need a performance. You explain when explanation can bring goodness. You apologize when you are wrong. You correct harmful lies when necessary. You protect your rights wisely, but you no longer spend your entire life defending yourself before people who enjoy seeing you tired. You leave your intention with Allah. You say, "Ya Allah, you know what was inside my heart." That becomes enough. There is great freedom in knowing that Allah saw everything. He saw the moment before your reaction. He saw the wound behind your silence. He saw how many times you tried. He saw what people said publicly. He saw what they did privately. He saw your mistakes too. Nothing was hidden. This allows you to stop acting as your own final judge. You do not need to punish yourself forever. You do not need to prove your innocence to every person. You repent for what you did wrong. You repair what can be repaired. Then you continue walking. The past becomes a teacher, not a prison. Before elevation, the past may have followed you everywhere. A new person entered your life, but you expected old betrayal. A new door opened, but you expected old failure. A sincere compliment came, but you searched for hidden meaning. Someone became quiet, and your heart returned to every person who abandoned you. Your body was in the present. Your fear was living in the past. But healing teaches you to separate memory from reality. You begin saying, "This person is not the person who hurt me. This moment is not the old moment. This silence may not mean rejection. This delay may not mean failure. I can be careful without becoming suspicious." This is important because pain can make the heart believe it is being wise when it is only being afraid. You may call it intuition, but sometimes it is an old wound expecting repetition. True wisdom does not panic. It observes. It asks questions. It looks at patterns. It seeks truth. Fear creates a conclusion before receiving evidence. When you return untouchable, you will no longer allow old pain to make every decision. You will listen to your feelings, but you will not worship them. Feelings are real, but they are not always correct. You may feel unwanted even while people love you. You may feel abandoned even while Allah is surrounding you with mercy. You may feel that the future is empty even while a new door is being prepared. You may feel weak while performing an act of great courage. So you learn to say, "My feeling matters, but it is not my Lord." You bring the feeling to prayer. You examine it. You ask what it is revealing. Then you choose your action through faith, truth, and wisdom. This is emotional strength. It is not denying what you feel. It is refusing to let every feeling become a command. Anger may say, "Destroy them." Faith says, "Seek justice, but do not become unjust." Fear may say, "Run before they reject you." Wisdom says, "Wait until you understand what is truly happening." Loneliness may say, "Return to the person who harmed you." Dignity says, "Missing them does not mean the door should reopen." Desire may say, "Take what you want now." Taqwa says, "What is forbidden cannot become peaceful through strong feelings." The untouchable heart is not free from inner voices. It has simply learned which voice deserves obedience. This heart also becomes difficult to control through praise. Pain is not the only thing that can own you. Praise can own you too. Before, someone's approval made you feel larger. You wanted to be noticed. You wanted people to call you wise, strong, spiritual, beautiful, successful, or special. When they praised you, you felt alive. When attention moved elsewhere, you felt invisible. This is another form of attachment. The nafs can survive rejection by becoming addicted to praise. Allah may protect you from both. He may let people misunderstand you so you stop living for applause. Then he may allow people to praise you to test whether you return to the same prison. This is a more hidden test. Can you receive praise without feeding your ego? Can you hear kind words and remember who gave you the ability? Can you succeed without believing you are above others? Can you become respected without becoming hungry for respect? The elevated soul says, Alhamdulillah, but remains careful. You know that every gift came from Allah. Your intelligence is a gift. Your patience is a gift. Your voice is a gift. Your influence is a gift. Your healing is a gift. Even your ability to worship is a gift. You did not create yourself. You did not guide your own heart without Allah's mercy. You did not survive only because of your own power. This keeps you humble. People may see your strength. You remember the nights you could barely stand. People may praise your wisdom. You remember the mistakes that taught it. People may admire your faith. You remember how often Allah had to bring you back. This memory protects the heart from pride. Untouchable does not mean believing you are better than everyone. That is another prison. Pride makes you depend on comparison. You feel strong only when someone else looks weak. You feel wise only when someone else makes a mistake. You feel close to Allah only when you can judge another servant. This is not elevation. The closer a person comes to Allah, the more they recognize their own need. They become softer toward sincere struggle. They do not celebrate another person's fall. They do not use religious words to feed superiority. They remember that hearts can change. A person who appears far today may become beloved to Allah tomorrow. A person who appears righteous today may fall if Allah does not protect them. So the elevated servant remains afraid of arrogance. They do not say, I could never become like that. They say, Ya Allah, protect me. They do not say, I am better. They say, Ya Allah, forgive us both. They do not use another person's weakness as entertainment. They cover what should be covered. They advise privately when possible. They seek justice when harm is real, but they do not become intoxicated by judgment. This humility makes the soul beautiful. You have suffered, but suffering did not make you cruel. You have been betrayed, but betrayal did not turn you into a betrayer. You have been lied about, but you do not lie. You have been abandoned, but you do not use people and leave them when they are no longer useful. You have been disrespected, but you do not become disrespectful to prove strength. This is victory. Anyone can return pain with pain. Anyone can become harsh after being hurt. But to remain truthful after being deceived, merciful after being wounded, and humble after surviving, that is rare. This is the hidden power of the purified soul. The world touched you, but it could not make you become what hurt you. When you return untouchable, you will stop seeing every ending as failure. Some endings are mercy. Some friendships complete their purpose. Some doors close because your character has outgrown them. Some places become too small for what Allah is teaching you. Some goals lose meaning because your heart has changed. Before, you may have forced things to continue because ending felt like defeat. You stayed in old patterns because you had invested time. You remained in dead relationships because you feared wasting the years. You continued chasing a dream that no longer matched your values because people knew you wanted it. But maturity teaches you that stopping can also be wisdom. Changing direction is not always weakness. Leaving something harmful is not failure. Admitting that a plan no longer fits is not shame. You are allowed to grow beyond an old version of your dream. You are allowed to choose peace over proving a point. You are allowed to say, "This once mattered to me, but Allah has changed my heart." The untouchable person does not remain chained to an old identity. Maybe people knew you as the weak one, the quiet one, the one who always returned, the one who could not say no, the one who accepted little, the one who was afraid. When you change, they may try to remind you of who you were. They may laugh at your boundaries. They may say, "You have become different." Perhaps you have. Not every change is betrayal. Sometimes remaining the same would be betrayal of everything Allah taught you. You do not owe people permanent access to the most wounded version of you. You do not have to remain small so others can feel comfortable. You do not have to continue a role that is destroying your soul. The people who benefited from your lack of boundaries may call your healing selfish. The people who controlled you through guilt may call your freedom disrespect. The people who preferred your silence may call your voice arrogance. Listen carefully. Not every criticism is truth, but do not reject every criticism either. The untouchable heart is strong enough to examine itself. When someone corrects you, you do not immediately attack. You ask, "Is there truth here?" Perhaps their tone is wrong, but the message is useful. Perhaps they misunderstood you completely. Perhaps you made a mistake. Spiritual strength means you can admit wrong without feeling destroyed. Before, your identity was so weak that every correction felt like rejection. Now you understand. I made a mistake does not mean I am worthless. You can apologize. You can learn. You can change. You can say, "I was wrong," without losing dignity. In fact, admitting wrong can be an act of dignity. Only the insecure heart must always appear correct. The secure heart cares more about truth than image. This makes you untouchable by shame. Healthy regret brings you back to Allah. Toxic shame tells you to hide from Him. Healthy regret says, "I did something wrong." Toxic shame says, "I am beyond mercy." The elevated soul knows the difference. You do not excuse your sins, but you also do not believe your sins are greater than Allah's mercy. You repent, you repair, you rise. The nafs may remind you of the past to make you hopeless. It may say, "You failed again. You are still the same." Allah will not accept you, but you answer with truth. My Lord told His servants not to lose hope in His mercy. You do not use mercy as permission to continue doing wrong. You use mercy as strength to return. This return is part of being untouchable. Shaitan cannot control you through hopelessness as easily as before. The world cannot control you through your mistakes. People cannot threaten to expose what you have sincerely repented from and make you abandon your path. You know your past. Allah knows your past more completely. And still, He allowed you to wake up today. That means the door of return remains open. This creates courage. You stop hiding behind perfection. You become honest. You no longer need to pretend you were never broken. You can say, "Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I trusted the wrong person. Yes, I remained too long. Yes, I lost myself. Yes, I ignored signs. But Allah taught me, and I returned." This honesty makes your story useful. You can help others without pretending to be above them. You speak from a scar, not an open wound. There is a difference. An open wound speaks to release pain. A scar speaks to offer wisdom. An open wound may need attention. A scar can give direction. Do not rush to teach while you are still bleeding heavily. First, heal. First, understand. First, sit with Allah. Then share what can benefit others without exposing what should remain private. The world does not need every detail of your pain. Some secrets belong between you and Allah. When you return untouchable, your privacy becomes sacred. You no longer share your whole life with everyone. You understand that attention is not the same as care. Many people may watch. Few truly protect. Many may ask questions. Few are prepared to carry the answer with mercy. Many may enjoy your vulnerability. Few deserve access to it. So you choose carefully. You do not become secretive out of fear. You become private out of wisdom. You protect new plans from unnecessary opinions. You protect healing from people who reopen wounds. You protect good relationships from the eyes of those who do not wish them well. You protect acts of worship from the hunger of the ego. The seed grows underground before it appears above the earth. Not everything must be announced while it is still becoming. This quietness will surprise people. Before, they knew every emotion, they knew every plan, they knew every conflict. Now they see only what you choose to show. They may call you distant, but you are not hiding, you are guarding. There is a difference. A guarded heart can still be loving. It simply understands that access should match trust. The untouchable soul also stops rushing. Before, you may have made choices from panic. You feared losing the opportunity. You feared someone choosing another person. You feared falling behind. You feared being alone. So you said yes too quickly. You gave trust before character was proven. You made promises while emotions were high. You ignored warning signs because the beginning felt beautiful. But now you move more slowly. Not because you are afraid of life, because you respect consequences. You watch consistency. You observe character. You notice how a person behaves when they do not get what they want. You notice how they speak about people who are absent. You notice whether they respect your boundaries. You notice whether their words and actions agree. You ask Allah for guidance. You seek wise advice. You do not allow loneliness to choose for you. This patience protects you. Many people can perform kindness for a short time. Time reveals what excitement hides. The elevated soul is no longer hypnotized by words alone. You appreciate words, but you trust patterns. Someone can say, "I care." Do their actions create safety? Someone can say, "I respect you." Do they respect your no? Someone can say, "I fear Allah." Does that fear appear in their honesty and behavior? Someone can promise a future. Are they responsible in the present? You do not become suspicious of everyone. You simply stop giving deep trust to shallow proof. This is wisdom earned through pain. But do not let wisdom become constant testing. Some wounded people create impossible tests for everyone. They demand perfect behavior. They expect others to read their minds. They punish people for mistakes they did not understand. They keep waiting for betrayal until they create distance themselves. That is fear, not wisdom. Untouchable does not mean unreachable. It does not mean making sincere people pay for what others did. It means learning how to communicate clearly. You tell people what matters. You state boundaries with respect. You give room for normal human mistakes. You notice sincere effort. You do not expect perfection. At the same time, you do not ignore repeated patterns of disrespect. This balance is difficult, but Allah can teach it. You become soft without becoming foolish, careful without becoming closed, merciful without becoming easy to use, strong without becoming harsh. This is one of the highest forms of inner balance. When you return untouchable, success will also lose its power to control you. Before, you may have believed elevation meant becoming famous, wealthy, admired, or visibly successful. You thought Allah would raise you by placing you above people. But spiritual elevation is different. Allah may elevate your soul while your life still looks ordinary. You may not become known. You may not become rich. You may not receive public praise, but you become truthful. You become peaceful. You become less controlled by envy. You become able to forgive. You become able to pray in secret. You become able to lose without losing faith. This is elevation. A person can stand on a high platform while their soul remains low. Another can remain unknown while their soul is honored before Allah. Do not confuse visibility with value. The world celebrates what can be seen. Allah knows what is hidden. The world counts followers. Allah knows sincerity. The world praises performance. Allah sees intention. The world may never understand the battle you won inside yourself, but Allah knows. He knows when you resisted revenge. He knows when you chose halal over desire. He knows when you remained patient without applause. He knows when you forgave. He knows when you walked away from a sin that no one else knew about. He knows when you prayed despite feeling empty. This hidden life is where your true rank is built. The untouchable heart is not obsessed with being seen. It becomes satisfied with being known by Allah. This does not mean you avoid every public opportunity. You may teach, you may lead, you may create, you may build something useful, you may become successful. But visibility is no longer your food. If people praise you, you continue. If people ignore you, you continue. If numbers rise, you remain grateful. If numbers fall, you examine, improve, and continue. Your work becomes service, not proof of worth. This protects your purpose. Many people begin with sincerity and then become addicted to reaction. They stop asking, "Is this true?" They start asking, "Will this be popular?" They stop asking, "Does this please Allah?" They start asking, "Will this bring attention?" The elevated soul remains watchful. You ask Allah to protect your intention. You remember that influence is a test. Attention can open doors, but it can also enter the heart like poison. You do not believe every person who praises you. You do not believe every person who criticizes you. You examine both before Allah. You learn from useful feedback. You leave empty noise. This is how you remain free. The world may place a crown on your head. You remember that it can remove it tomorrow. The world may reject you today. You remember that its rejection cannot remove what Allah has written. So you do not bow to popularity. You do not change truth to keep an audience. You do not become cruel for entertainment. You do not sell your values for acceptance. You may lose people, but you keep your soul. This is what the entire journey was preparing you for. Allah did not empty your world so you would spend your life begging the world to fill it again. He emptied it so you would learn what belongs in the center. He separated you so you would recognize false dependence. He allowed loneliness so you would discover hidden strength. He silenced voices so you would learn to hear guidance. He broke the final attachment so your heart could become free. Now you return. But you return carrying something you did not have before. You carry presence. You are no longer running from yourself. You can sit quietly. You can hear your thoughts without obeying all of them. You can enjoy your own company without turning solitude into pride. You can be among people without losing your center. You can be loved without becoming addicted. You can be disliked without becoming destroyed. You can be alone without feeling abandoned. This is a great station, but remain careful. Every spiritual station can become a new test. You may begin to feel proud of your healing. You may look at people who are still attached and say, "Why can they not let go?" You may forget how long it took you. You may become impatient with weakness. Do not let freedom make you cruel. Allah did not free you so you could shame those still in chains. He freed you so you could understand them. Speak gently. Share what helped you. Do not force your timing on another heart. Some people are at the beginning of the lesson you just completed. Some are still asking why everyone left. Some are still begging a closed door to open. Some are still afraid of the silence. Some are still calling attachment love. Remember yourself. Remember the nights you could not understand. Remember how slowly Allah carried you. Let that memory make you compassionate. The truly elevated person makes others feel closer to hope, not smaller. They do not use wisdom as a weapon. They do not speak as if they never struggled. They say, "Allah helped me. He can help you too." This humility protects the gift. When people come to you with pain, do not immediately give them a lesson. Sometimes they need presence before advice. Sometimes the most spiritual response is listening. Do not make every person's wound into an opportunity to display your knowledge. Sit with them. Make dua. Speak only what can help. The soul that has truly suffered becomes careful with the suffering of others. You know, one careless sentence can make a wounded heart feel more alone. So you choose mercy. This mercy does not mean telling people only what they want to hear. Sometimes love requires truth, but truth can be delivered without humiliation. You can say, "This relationship is harming you," without calling them foolish. You can say, "You need to let go," while understanding why they are afraid. You can say, "This behavior is wrong," without making the person believe they are beyond return. This is how the elevated soul serves. You become a doorway to Allah's mercy, not a barrier. Your pain begins to carry purpose. The loneliness teaches you how to sit with lonely people. The rejection teaches you how to notice those who feel unseen. The betrayal teaches you the value of honesty. The silence teaches you how powerful one sincere word can be. The closed door teaches you not to mock another person's delay. The broken attachment teaches you how to love without control. Nothing was wasted. The very things that nearly destroyed you become tools of service. This is one of Allah's beautiful ways. He can turn the wound into wisdom. He can turn the weakness into compassion. He can turn the loss into direction. He can take the place where you fell and make it the place where another person finds hope. But keep your purpose connected to Allah. Do not build an identity around being the healer. You are not the source. You are a servant. Allah heals, Allah guides, Allah opens hearts. Your task is to carry light without claiming ownership of it. This protects you from exhaustion. You will serve, but you will not believe everything depends on you. You will give, but you will return the result to Allah. You will care, but you will not make another person's response your measure of success. Some will listen, some will not. Some will thank you. Some may misunderstand. You continue with sincerity. This is being untouchable by reaction. Before, gratitude encouraged you, and ingratitude destroyed you. Now, gratitude is appreciated, but Allah's knowledge is enough. You know the reward of goodness is not always found in the response of the person receiving it. Sometimes you help someone, and they still leave. You advise, and they ignore it. You show kindness, and they forget. You remain honest, and they accuse you. Your heart may hurt, but you say, "My Lord saw." That protects you from becoming bitter. Do not do goodness only so people will return goodness. Do goodness because it is right, but also do not allow people to use religious language to demand unlimited sacrifice. There is a difference between sincere service and being exploited. The elevated soul knows when an act is for Allah and when fear is pretending to be generosity. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it is right or because I am afraid they will leave? Am I helping or am I preventing them from taking responsibility? Am I being patient or am I avoiding a necessary boundary? Am I forgiving or am I pretending the harm does not matter? These questions protect sincerity. When you return untouchable, you will also understand that peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is knowing where to return when problems come. Before, hardship scattered you. You ran toward people. You searched for immediate comfort. You reacted before thinking. Now, your first movement begins to change. You turn to Allah. You make wudu. You pray. You sit. You breathe. You ask for guidance before sending the message, ending the relationship, accepting the offer, or making the accusation. This pause is power. Many regrets are created in moments when pain speaks faster than wisdom. One message sent in anger can damage years. One decision made from loneliness can create a new chain. One promise made from fear can imprison the future. The elevated heart learns to pause. Not every decision can wait for days, but even a few moments of returning to Allah can change the quality of your action. You ask, "Ya Allah, Protect me from choosing through panic. Then you act. Sometimes you will still make mistakes. You are not becoming perfect. You are becoming aware. You may still trust the wrong person. You may still misunderstand a situation. You may still react too quickly. You may still feel attached. But you recover differently. Before, one mistake became a new identity. Now, you learn faster. You repent sooner. You correct more honestly. You do not remain on the ground because you fell. You rise. This ability to return is more important than never falling. The path to Allah is not walked by flawless people. It is walked by servants who keep returning. The untouchable soul is not one that cannot fall. It is one that does not belong to the fall. You may enter darkness for a moment, but you remember the direction of light. You may become lost, but you know the one who guides. You may become weak, but you know where strength comes from. This is why your relationship with Allah becomes your greatest protection. Not your intelligence, not your reputation, not your money, not your connections, not your ability to predict people. All of these can help, but none are perfect. Your true safety is not that nothing painful will happen. Your true safety is that whatever happens can become a road back to Allah. Even loss can become worship. Even tears can become dua. Even waiting can become patience. Even weakness can become humility. Even a mistake can become repentance. When Allah becomes your return, life loses the power to completely destroy you. Everything can touch your circumstances, but nothing can remove Allah from being your Lord. This is the secret of being untouchable. Your body may become tired. Your heart may ache. Your plans may fail. Your reputation may be damaged. People may leave. But the deepest part of you keeps saying, Allah is still Allah. My Lord has not changed. His mercy has not ended. His knowledge has not become smaller. His power has not weakened. My story is still in His hands. This faith is not always loud. Sometimes it appears as a whisper between tears. Sometimes all you can say is, Ya Allah. That one call may contain everything: fear, hope, pain, trust, surrender. The servant who knows where to call is never completely lost. There may be times when you feel that you have returned to the beginning. A person leaves and the old fear returns. A door closes and the old sadness wakes up. You think, I thought I was healed. Do not be afraid. Healing does not mean you never feel an old emotion again. It means the emotion no longer owns your next action. You may cry again, but you do not beg the same way. You may feel lonely again, but you do not return to harmful company. You may feel rejected again, but you do not question your worth for months. You may become afraid again, but you remember Allah sooner. This is progress. Do not measure growth only by what you no longer feel. Measure it by how you respond. The heart can still shake while standing in the right place. Courage does not require calm emotions. Sometimes courage is doing what is right while the whole heart is trembling. You may set a boundary while crying. You may leave something harmful while still loving it. You may accept Allah's decision while wishing it were different. You may begin again while feeling unready. This is not weakness. This is obedience under pressure. Allah knows the cost of every step. People may see one decision. Allah sees the battle behind it. They may say, you simply walked away. Allah knows how many nights you begged for strength. They may say, you moved on. Allah knows how often you almost returned. They may say, you became strong. Allah knows the weakness you carried while becoming strong. Do not seek perfect understanding from the world. Let Allah's knowledge comfort you. One day, you may stand in front of the person who once controlled your emotions. You may hear their voice again. You may see the face you once believed you could not live without. And you will notice something. Your heart is calm, not hateful, not desperate, calm. You do not need them to choose you. You do not need them to regret leaving. You do not need to prove what they lost. You do not need revenge. You may still remember the pain, but the memory no longer has teeth. This is freedom. You do not become free when they apologize. You become free when your peace no longer depends on the apology. You do not become free when they understand. You become free when being understood by Allah becomes enough. You do not become free when they return. You become free when their return is no longer necessary for your life to continue. Perhaps they will return. Perhaps they will not. Either way, you remain standing. This does not mean reconciliation is impossible. People can change. Allah can heal relationships. A door may reopen in a better way. But you will not enter it with the same blindness. You will look for truth. Real change has evidence. An apology is beautiful, but changed behavior is stronger. Promises may bring hope, but consistent character builds trust. You can forgive immediately for the sake of your heart. But trust may need time. You do not confuse forgiveness with instant restoration. Some things can be rebuilt. Some things should remain closed. You ask Allah for wisdom. You do not allow loneliness to choose. You do not allow pride to choose either. Sometimes pride says, never forgive, never return, make them suffer. That is another chain. The untouchable heart is free from desperation and revenge. It can consider reconciliation without need. It can refuse reconciliation without hatred. Its decision comes from wisdom, not wounded ego. This balance is rare, but the journey has prepared you for it. The elevated soul does not make every decision to protect image. It can say, yes, I am willing to rebuild, when rebuilding is good. It can also say, I forgive you, but this door will remain closed, when closure is safer. It does not need everyone to approve. It is answerable to Allah. This accountability keeps freedom clean. Without accountability, I am untouchable can become arrogance. You may start believing nobody can correct you. You may use boundaries to avoid responsibility. You may call selfishness healing. You may call pride self-respect. Be careful. The nafs changes clothes. When weakness no longer works, it may wear the clothes of strength. It may say, you owe nobody an explanation. Sometimes true, but sometimes you do owe an apology. It may say, protect your peace. Sometimes true, but sometimes your peace is being disturbed because you are avoiding a duty. It may say, cut everyone off. Sometimes distance is needed, but sometimes honest communication is needed. It may say, you have outgrown them, perhaps. Or perhaps you have become proud. Keep returning to Allah. Ask, is this boundary protecting my faith or protecting my ego? Am I silent because silence is wise or because I fear accountability? Am I leaving because the place is harmful or because correction made me uncomfortable? Am I choosing peace or choosing comfort over truth? These questions keep the soul sincere. Real elevation makes you more honest, not less responsible. You become able to say no, but you also become able to hear no. You want people to respect your boundaries. You also respect theirs. You do not punish someone for needing space. You do not demand access because you love them. You do not call control loyalty. You give people the freedom you ask for yourself. This is purified love. You stop trying to own people. You understand that every soul belongs to Allah. People are not objects placed in your life to meet every need. They have their own tests, limits, wounds, and paths. You can walk beside them. You cannot become their Lord. You cannot demand that they never change. You cannot force them to remain. You can build healthy promises, honor commitments, protect family bonds, and work through difficulty. But beneath all human connection is the truth that hearts remain in Allah's hands. This truth can feel frightening, but it also makes love more beautiful. You become grateful for every sincere moment. You stop taking people for granted. You show love while there is time. You apologize more quickly. You forgive ordinary weakness. You do not delay kind words. You know that nothing in this world is guaranteed forever, but you also do not live in constant fear of losing. You enjoy the gift without worshipping it. This is the open hand. A closed hand grips so tightly that it cannot enjoy what it holds. An open hand receives with gratitude and releases with trust. You will return untouchable because you have learned to carry life with open hands. When Allah gives, you say, Alhamdulillah. When Allah delays, you say, teach me patience. When Allah removes, you say, help me surrender. When Allah changes the path, you say, guide my steps. When Allah leaves a question unanswered, you say, you know what I do not. This does not mean every sentence comes easily. Sometimes the tongue says, Alhamdulillah, while the heart is still learning. That is okay. Faith can lead emotion. You continue repeating truth until the heart catches up. The soul is trained through remembrance. Just as fear grows through repeated fearful thoughts, trust grows through repeated return. Each time you say, Allah is enough, you are placing a stone in the foundation. Each time you choose prayer over panic, you strengthen the structure. Each time you release what you cannot control, the heart becomes lighter. Over time, something changes. The same storm arrives, but the house no longer falls. The same kind of person appears, but you recognize the pattern earlier. The same criticism comes, but it does not enter as deeply. The same delay happens, but you continue working. The same loneliness visits, but you know how to sit with it. This is not because you became emotionless. It is because you built roots. A tree with shallow roots is destroyed by ordinary wind. A tree with deep roots may bend, lose leaves, and even break branches, but it remains. Your roots are prayer. Your roots are Quran. Your roots are dhikr. Your roots are sincere repentance. Your roots are the nights when you spoke honestly to Allah. Your roots are every moment you chose truth over attention. Your roots are every attachment you returned to the one who owns all things. People may see only the calm tree. They do not see the roots built in darkness. Allah sees them. This is why private worship matters. The untouchable life is built in hidden moments. In the moment you close the door and pray. In the moment you resist sending the message. In the moment you forgive without announcing it. In the moment you admit your mistake to Allah. In the moment you choose not to speak badly about someone who hurt you. In the moment you give charity nobody knows about. In the moment you return to the Quran while your heart feels dry. These moments do not look powerful to the world, but they build a soul the world cannot easily control. Do not neglect the hidden life while building the visible one. You may have success, but without hidden worship, success can empty you. You may have knowledge, but without humility, knowledge can make you harsh. You may have influence, but without remembrance, influence can become an idol. Protect the secret connection. Let there always be something between you and Allah that nobody knows. A dua, a prayer, a charity, a tear, an act of service, a private repentance. That secret becomes a shelter when public life becomes loud. It reminds you who you are when the world gives you a name. The world may call you successful. Before Allah, you remain a servant. The world may call you powerful. Before Allah, you remain needy. The world may call you wise. Before Allah, you remain a learner. The world may call you healed. Before Allah, you continue asking for protection. This humility keeps elevation from becoming another fall. When Allah raises you, remember the ground. Remember where sujood placed your forehead. Remember the empty room. Remember the unanswered message. Remember the closed door. Remember the version of you who thought the pain would never end. Do not feel shame toward that version. Have mercy on them. They did not know what you know now. They were doing their best with a frightened heart. Thank Allah for carrying them, then continue. You are not meant to remain forever. in the story of what hurt you. At some point, the lesson must become life. You stop introducing yourself through the wound. You stop making every conversation return to the person who left. You stop using pain as proof that your story is important. You begin building, you create, you learn, you serve, you laugh without guilt. You enjoy halal beauty. You make new memories. You allow joy to enter without waiting for disaster. This can be difficult. After long pain, peace may feel unfamiliar. You may become suspicious when life becomes calm. You think something bad must be coming. This is the body remembering old storms. Be gentle. Teach yourself that peace is also allowed. You do not have to create problems because calm feels strange. You do not have to return to chaos because chaos feels familiar. Let goodness remain good. Receive it. Thank Allah. Do not destroy today by fearing tomorrow. Tawakkul means you live the day Allah gave you. You prepare wisely for the future, but you do not suffer every possible future in advance. The old version of you lived inside imagined losses. You lost people in your mind before they left. You failed before trying. You expected rejection before speaking. You prepared for pain so deeply that you could not enjoy love. The elevated soul learns presence. Today, the person is here. Be grateful. Today, the door is open. Walk with sincerity. Today, your body can pray. Use it. Today, you have time. Do not waste it mourning a future that has not happened. And if loss comes tomorrow, tomorrow will arrive with Allah's help. You do not need to borrow tomorrow's pain today. This is trust. The future is not empty. Allah is already there. The version of you that feared everything, believed safety came from prediction. The new you knows safety comes from companionship with Allah. You may not know what will happen, but you know who will be with you. That is enough to move. This is why you will return courageous. You will take steps you once delayed. You will start the work. You will speak the truth. You will enter healthy relationships. You will leave what is clearly harmful. You will try again, not because failure has become impossible, because failure no longer means death. You understand that a failed attempt does not remove your worth. A rejected idea does not end your purpose. A closed door does not mean Allah has abandoned you. A person choosing someone else does not mean you are unlovable. You separate results from identity. You work with excellence, but you do not become the result. If success comes, you remain a servant. If failure comes, you remain a servant. Your position before Allah does not rise and fall with public reaction. This makes action easier. Perfectionism begins to weaken. Before, you may have delayed because you feared making mistakes. You wanted the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect words, the perfect confidence. But perfect conditions rarely arrive. The elevated soul starts with sincerity and improves through effort. You make istikhara, you seek advice, you prepare, then you move. You do not use waiting for a sign as a hiding place from responsibility. You understand that guidance often appears while walking. You take the next lawful, wise step. Then Allah opens or redirects. This is active trust. You are not passive, you are surrendered. There is a difference. Passivity says, I will do nothing, and call it faith. Surrender says, I will do my duty and return the result to Allah. The untouchable soul works. It learns, it plans, it takes care of the body, it fulfills promises, it respects time. It does not use spirituality to escape daily responsibility. You pray, but you also take action. You make dua for provision, but you also work honestly. You ask for healing, but you also seek proper help. You ask for peace, but you also stop feeding the habits that destroy peace. You ask Allah to remove an attachment, but you stop checking the door. You ask for better people, but you work on becoming a better person. This balance protects the soul from false hope. Allah can change anything in one moment, but you are still responsible for the steps placed within your ability. The elevated servant does not demand miracles while ignoring simple obedience. Sometimes the miracle begins with a routine: prayer on time, sleep at a better hour, less harmful content, honest work, a difficult conversation, a clear boundary, one page of Quran, one sincere apology, one decision not to return. Small acts become doors. Do not wait for your life to feel dramatic before taking faith seriously. The soul is often elevated through ordinary obedience repeated quietly. When you return untouchable, your daily life becomes more sacred. You stop living only for great moments. You notice the blessing in simple things: clean water, a peaceful meal, a safe room, a sincere friend, a healthy breath, a chance to repent. A morning you did not create. You understand that gratitude is not denial of pain. It is refusing to let pain hide every mercy. During the hardest season, you may have looked only at what was missing. Now you begin noticing what remained. Allah remained. Prayer remained. The sky remained. The ability to call upon Him remained. Your breath remained. Hope remained, even if it was small. This recognition makes the heart rich. A rich heart is not one that owns everything. It is one that sees mercy in what it has. Such a heart cannot be easily controlled through comparison. Before, seeing someone else's life made you feel behind. Their marriage made you question your timing. Their success made you doubt your path. Their family made you feel empty. Their beauty made you feel less. But now you understand that you are seeing one page of their book. You do not know their private test. You do not know what was delayed to prepare them. You do not know what their blessing requires them to carry. You stop using another person's visible life as evidence against Allah's plan for you. Envy begins to weaken. You can celebrate people without feeling that their gift stole yours. Allah's treasures do not decrease when He gives to someone else. Their door opening is not proof that yours will remain closed. Their timing is not your judgment. You return to your path. This protects your energy. Comparison was stealing the strength you needed for your own life. Now you ask, what has Allah placed in my hands today? Then you work with that. You stop measuring everything by speed. Some souls are built slowly because their work requires depth. Some doors open later because the person must become strong enough to carry what is behind them. Some delays protect character. Some waiting purifies desire. Do not call every delay punishment, and do not call every quick success blessing without question. A gift received before the heart is ready can become a test that destroys peace. You ask Allah not only to give, you ask Him to prepare you. Ya Allah, do not give me a blessing that takes me away from you. Do not give me influence without humility. Do not give me love without wisdom. Do not give me wealth without gratitude. Do not open a door my character cannot carry. This is a mature dua. The old heart asked only, give me. The elevated heart asks, make me ready. This readiness is what separation created. You learned who you were without applause. You learned how you behaved when people left. You saw what fear made you do. You saw where your boundaries were weak. You saw how attachment entered. Now you know what must be protected when new blessings come. This is why you will not return to the world as the same person. A new relationship may enter. You will not make it your God. A new opportunity may open. You will not let it destroy prayer. People may admire you. You will not allow praise to become your food. Money may increase. You will remember who provided when your hands were empty. You may become powerful. You will remember how weakness felt. These memories can become guards around the heart. Do not erase the lesson after receiving the blessing. Many people call upon Allah in the storm and forget Him when the sky clears. Do not become one of them. The storm taught you too much. Keep the prayer you built in pain. Keep the Quran habit you began in loneliness. Keep the humility you learned through failure. Keep the private dua that carried you. Do not thank the blessing by leaving the one who sent it. Let ease deepen worship. When relief arrives, make sujood. When a good person comes, ask Allah to protect the bond. When the door opens, enter with gratitude. When people praise you, remember your need. This is how blessings remain light instead of becoming chains. You will return untouchable, not because you own everything, but because nothing owns you except your servanthood to Allah. That servanthood is not humiliation, it is the highest freedom. When you bow to Allah, you stop bowing to every opinion. When you fear Allah, the fear of people becomes smaller. When you seek Allah's love, you stop selling yourself for attention. When you know Allah provides, you stop compromising your values for one door. When you believe Allah sees, you stop performing goodness only for an audience. One true surrender frees you from 1,000 false masters. This is why the soul becomes powerful through worship. The world sees sujood as lowering yourself, but the believer rises from sujood with a heart the world cannot easily bend. You placed your forehead on the ground before the highest. Why would you now place your dignity beneath someone's temporary approval? You confessed your need before the owner of all things. Why would you now believe one person controls your future? You cried before the one who hears every secret. Why would you now beg someone determined not to understand? Sujood returns you to the truth. You are small, but you belong to the greatest. You are weak, but your Lord is strong. You do not know, but your Lord knows. You cannot control tomorrow, but tomorrow is already under His command. This is the foundation of being untouchable. It is not self-worship. It is not saying, I am enough by myself. You are not enough by yourself. Nobody is. The truth is greater. Allah is enough for you. That sentence removes both desperation and pride. You do not say, I need no one. You say, every good person is a gift, but Allah is my foundation. You welcome support. You ask for help when needed. You seek knowledge from teachers. You receive love from family and friends. You may seek professional help for emotional or physical struggles. Trust in Allah does not mean rejecting the means He created. You take the means without worshipping them. Medicine can help. Allah is the healer. A teacher can guide. Allah opens understanding. A friend can support. Allah gives strength. Work can bring income. Allah is the provider. This balance keeps you grounded. The untouchable soul is not isolated. It is properly connected. Connected to people through mercy. Connected to responsibility through discipline. Connected to life through gratitude. Connected to Allah through worship. This is wholeness. One day, the stage where everyone left you may no longer look like a place of abandonment. You will look back and see an empty stage prepared for transformation. The audience had to leave. The noise had to stop. The old role had to end. You had spent years performing for people, trying to be loved, trying to be chosen, trying to appear strong, trying to meet expectations. Then the stage became empty. There was nobody left to impress. You stood there with Allah, and for the first time you asked, who am I when nobody is watching? This question began your true life. You discovered that your worth did not come from the audience. Your purpose did not come from applause. Your soul did not need public permission to return to its Lord. In that empty stage, the false self began to die, the self that needed attention, the self that feared silence, the self that accepted less to avoid loneliness, the self that obeyed people over conscience, the self that built identity from reaction. That self was not destroyed in one moment. It left slowly, through tears, through prayer, through disappointment, through repeated surrender. Then a new self began to stand. Not a perfect self, a conscious self, a servant who knows where to return, a heart that understands its weakness, a soul that has seen the danger of attachment, a person who can enter the world without giving the world complete control. This is who returns. People may not recognize you. Some may say you changed. Some may try to pull you back into your old role. They may test the old button. They may use guilt, silence, flattery, criticism. They will wait for the old reaction, but it does not come. You do not become angry. You do not perform strength. You simply do not return to the chain. This calmness may confuse them. People who controlled you through your reactions may become uncomfortable when you stop reacting. Do not use this to punish them. Do not become proud. Remain clear. You can say, I respect you, but I cannot continue this pattern. I forgive you, but I will not accept this behavior. I care about you, but I will not abandon my values. I wish you well, but this distance is necessary. Simple words, no hatred, no drama, no begging. This is power. The old self wanted the last word. The elevated self wants a clean heart. You do not need to win every conversation. Sometimes walking away peacefully is the victory. Sometimes refusing to insult is the victory. Sometimes not replying is the victory. Sometimes apologizing first is the victory. Sometimes staying is the victory. Sometimes leaving is the victory. The form changes, the principle remains. Choose what keeps you truthful before Allah. This is the compass of the untouchable soul. Not pride, not comfort, not public approval. Truth before Allah. There will still be seasons when you feel weak. Do not fear them. Even strong hearts need rest. Even believers experience sadness. Even sincere people become confused. The goal is not to maintain one emotional state forever. The heart turns. That is why you keep returning. A daily connection with Allah is not only for crisis, it is maintenance for the soul. Prayer protects the direction. Dhikr cleans the heart. Quran corrects the mind. Sincere company strengthens discipline. Repentance repairs damage. Rest restores the body. Service keeps the heart from becoming self-centered. You do not wait until everything collapses before returning to these things. You build them into your life. This is how elevation becomes stable. A powerful moment can awaken you. Only consistent practice can reshape you. Do not rely only on emotional reminders. There will be days when you feel inspired. Use them, but there will also be ordinary days. Those days build character. Pray when the speech is not powerful. Read when you do not feel moved. Stay honest when nobody is watching. Keep promises when excitement disappears. This is where the soul proves it belongs to truth, not feeling. Eventually, people may call you disciplined, but discipline began as small acts of obedience repeated when you wanted to quit. They may call you peaceful, but peace began as a choice not to reopen the same wound. They may call you wise, but wisdom began with admitting that your old way was harming you. They may call you untouchable, but you will know the truth. You were touched deeply, you were wounded, you were shaken. You were brought to the edge of yourself, and there Allah taught you how to return. Untouchable does not mean untouched. It means transformed by what touched you. The fire reached you, but it purified more than it destroyed. The water covered you, but it taught you how to breathe through faith. The night surrounded you, but it showed you the value of light. You do not deny what happened. You honor what Allah created through it. The wound may always remain part of your story, but it will no longer be the author. Allah is the one writing the deeper meaning. A person left, but Allah taught you permanence. A door closed, but Allah taught you trust. You were misunderstood, but Allah taught you sincerity. You became lonely, but Allah taught you presence. Your attachment broke, but Allah taught you freedom. This is why the ending is not about the people who left. It is about the soul that remained with Allah. You thought the story was, everyone left me. But perhaps the deeper story was, Allah removed every distraction until I could see that He had never left. The separation was not the final destination. It was the bridge. You crossed from dependence to trust, from fear to surrender, from performance to sincerity, from noise to remembrance, from desperation to dignity, from attachment to love, from weakness to rootedness. Now you can return, not to prove anything, not to make people regret losing you, not to show the world how strong you became. You return to live, to worship, to serve, to love wisely, to build honestly, to carry a mercy, to use what you learned. You do not need revenge. Your peace is the answer. You do not need to show people what they lost. Your character is the evidence. You do not need them to witness your elevation. Allah witnessed every step. This is enough. And perhaps some people will never know what happened inside you. They will see the result. They will not see the process. They will see calm eyes. They will not see the nights of tears. They will see boundaries. They will not see the years of self-abandonment that made them necessary. They will see confidence. They will not see the rejection that forced you to discover your worth in Allah. Do not become angry that they do not know. The hidden process was part of the gift. It belongs to you and your Lord. Let the world see only what benefits it. Let Allah know the rest. As you enter the next stage, keep one prayer close. Ya Allah, do not let the strength you gave me become pride. Do not let my boundaries become cruelty. Do not let my independence become isolation. Do not let my wisdom become judgment. Do not let new blessings make me forget the pain that brought me to you. Keep my heart soft, my faith firm, and my dependence upon you complete. This is the prayer of someone who understands that the journey never truly ends. Every new level brings a new test. The person who survived rejection may later be tested through attention. The person who survived poverty may later be tested through wealth. The person who survived being ignored may later be tested through influence. The person who learned to let go may later be tested through receiving. Remain awake. The goal is not only to survive hardship, the goal is to remain close to Allah in hardship and ease. Hardship taught you to call upon Him. Ease will test whether you remember. Do not fail the second test. When your life becomes full again, remember the empty world. When good people surround you, remember the lonely room. When voices praise you, remember the silence. When doors open, remember the ones that closed. When love arrives, remember who carried your heart before it came. This memory will keep every blessing in its correct place. Then you will truly become untouchable, not unreachable, not unfeeling, not proud, untouchable by manipulation, untouchable by false approval, untouchable by the threat of abandonment, untouchable by the need to prove your worth, untouchable by the lie that one closed door can end your life, untouchable by the belief that the world owns your identity. People may touch your emotions, events may touch your plans, loss may touch your days, but your deepest center remains with Allah. That center cannot be reached by every changing thing, because it is no longer built upon changing things. It is built upon the one who does not change. This is the station you were being prepared for. Allah emptied your world so you could see what filled your heart. He let the ones you could not lose leave, so you would discover who truly kept you alive. He allowed you to be misunderstood, so you would stop searching for yourself in people's eyes. He placed you inside loneliness, so weakness could burn away. He silenced every voice, so guidance could become clear. He broke the final attachment, so nothing created could sit on the throne of your heart. Now you return, and when you return, you will not carry hatred. You will carry knowledge. You will not carry revenge. You will carry dignity. You will not carry desperation. You will carry trust. You will not carry the need to be chosen. You will carry the certainty that Allah already chose you for a purpose. You will walk among people without worshipping their opinions. You will receive love without fearing every ending. You will face loss without forgetting Allah's presence. You will enter the unknown without demanding full control. You will continue when nobody applauds. You will stop when conscience warns you. You will bend in sujood, but you will not bow your dignity before creation. This is the soul Allah was building inside the silence. So do not hate the stage where everyone leaves you. Do not rush to fill every empty seat. Do not beg every departing person to return. Do not believe the empty stage means the story is over. Sometimes the audience must leave before the real transformation can begin. Sometimes every voice must become quiet before the servant hears the truth. Sometimes every false support must fall before the heart discovers its real foundation. And sometimes Allah must separate you from everyone so He can return you to everyone with a heart that belongs only to Him. When that heart returns, it can love without chains, it can serve without needing praise, it can forgive without returning to harm, it can lose without becoming empty, it can receive without becoming proud, it can walk through the world without allowing the world to become its Lord. That heart is not untouched, it is purified, it is not without scars, it has learned how to turn every scar toward Allah. It is not beyond pain, it has discovered a presence greater than pain, and that is why the same world that once broke you will no longer be able to own you. You will return soft but not weak, open but not unguarded, loving but not desperate, humble but not controlled, alone when necessary but never abandoned. You will return untouchable, not because nothing can reach your heart, but because everything that reaches your heart must now pass through your trust in Allah. If everyone is leaving, do not believe your story is ending. Perhaps Allah is clearing the path, breaking the chains, and teaching your heart to depend on Him alone. The empty stage is not your punishment. It may be the place where your new soul is born. So remain patient, keep praying, and trust this. When Allah separates you for a season, He may be preparing you for a station your old self could never carry.